for this gunfight, and he catches Mikey looking the other way. That's a quad kill from Bride. Flies up the stairs. His teammates should be able to trade this. It's just an ump. Getting it to 3K with an ump, and he's got the stubby out. He gets 4. What in God's green earth just happened?
As Resync goes into the default plant by Tetris. No more C4 anymore from the Malusi, so he's gonna have to go drive, and he gets 4. What? Both these attackers rather low. There it is, but Twizzler was actually picked up in time. 12 seconds left. Vivid still needs this 4th kill. There it is through the wall. After's just getting the bomb down. He doesn't care, but the impact downs him. They have to go for these kills. With 3 seconds left, Silent lands the free fire. Nobody can kill him in time. The ace from Silent. The 1v3, 2 for Mystic now. And we're 4-3, almost tied up.
As much as I watch that, it just never gets old. Welcome to SCS tonight. We're getting into the thick of things. I am Light Rose. Joining me is Forceful. And like I was talking about, we have some really good matches as we're getting into the kind of third half of the season.
I mean, we're getting to the nitty-gritty at this point. You've got teams that are trying to get up there in the playoffs. They've got a bunch of promotion games coming on today. There's no elimination games as far as I'm aware today. So what we've got is just like teams that are like, you know, we can take the next step. We can get to the next place. We can get to play, you know, some of these bigger teams on a bigger stage in the playoffs, but they have to get through today. Otherwise, you know, there's tomorrow, but that's no fun. You want to win today. Yeah,
I'm talking about yesterday, though, seeing the couple of games that we had that were pretty exciting. I mean, well, exciting in general term. It was 2-2-0s. You had Astralis versus HK Rebels. No upsets here. Astralis kind of easily took control of that entire match, but it was a little surprising. HK Rebels actually managed to put up a fight. I believe it was 2 7-4s on a couple of maps, so I think they definitely can, you know, hang their heads low when looking onto potentially the future. But, I mean, it was always exciting to see some of these T1 teams try their hand at playing some of the, you know, more community center talent.
I mean, you know, what are you going to expect? You got like an up-and-coming T3 team against, you know, arguably one of the best teams in the world. Obviously, they're going to invite. You're not really expecting them to really pull the upset. But what was really interesting to see was this Parabellum Vipers game, where it actually looked at one point relatively close for both of these teams. When Vipers was playing Parabellum on Villa, they managed to bring it all the way to 8-6. It looked very back and forth. You know, you had some really good performances coming out from the side of Vipers. But then when it came into the second map, Parabellum just stole the show. You know, Blaz just wasn't going to let his team go down and lose. And they managed to pull this one away with a nice, clean 2-0 on Oregon. It was a 7-1 on the second map. It was just an absolute rout. So all that you know, the show of force that Viper showed in map 1, it wasn't able to translate coming into map 2.
Yeah, it was a surprise to me just how one-sided that Oregon match was when you come back from an overtime victory in that first map. But Parabellum, they move on. Vipers, they get to the 5th and final round of that Swiss stage. And well, talking about the bracket, that is pretty important because, first of all, you mentioned that we do not have any elimination matches. So we are going to see teams either get promoted, go to the playoffs, or we're going to see teams get to that 2-2 record stage. It's going to be 6 Karma, Astralis, Investigation File, and Vipers, and then whoever just kind of ends up on the wrong side of the tracks tonight.
Well, one of the nice things about this bracket is we never really seen the same 2 teams play each other again. So whoever loses this will end up going into that tiebreaker bracket at tomorrow, and they'll be playing one of these few teams. But like I said, because there's no teams and we try to make sure it's a fresh match every single time, teams like 6K, who's played every other team inside their bracket, will have to play one of these opponents that lose out of today. And if you win, you're in. That's basically the big motto here. You've got 4 very strong teams that have shown dominant performances throughout. They're all 2-1 at this point. And whoever wins this game, like I said, will get promoted into the playoffs, and they'll be able to take a nice little break before playoffs start up here real soon.
Yeah, honestly, any of those teams, the 6 teams that will be at that 2-2 record, look pretty scary. I mean, you've got Mexican Pro League, NA Pro League, Challenger League. It's just kind of all a mix-up. But going into today, we could talk about the future, the past, everything. But right now in front of us, the game that we have ahead, RTV Wichita Wolves. I've been looking forward to this ever since the schedule was finally revealed. It is, honestly, you could say some two Titan personalities, but we have to mention one that might be a little absent.
I mean, it looks like a bit of a grudge match, wouldn't you say? Like these are two teams.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Especially when I know JJ is not going to be on the roster, and we're going to talk about them in a second. But these are two teams that have got a pretty big history from their T3 days with each other. That being said, we got RealityTV. You know, it's a pretty solid roster all the way through. When you can see the players, one thing I do want to highlight here is that Kento will be subbing out for Tristan today. So he's only going to be playing this game. But overall, RealityTV has been a tour de force team that's been showing up on multiple different stages. You know, they won Challenger League last stage in stage 3. They're doing really well. They managed to make it to the close qual playoffs here. And they're going to be playing against the likes of SSG in the close quals for Invite. And now, you know, in SCS, they've been looking really dominant. They've put a lot of teams on the back foot. And right now, what you're seeing is just a very like star-studded roster that, you know, could probably make the jump to tier 1 and feel absolutely at home. But unfortunately, with the way that the brackets are formatted and the way that the structure of the NAL is now, there's not really going to be that opportunity. So they're just looking to play their hearts out, try and get the eyes of these tier 1 teams, and hopefully, you know, maybe some of them can get picked up and into the NAL for the 2023 season.
Yeah, but the main star, the person everybody looks to on RealityTV is Mr. B. He is the IGL. He kind of keeps everybody in line. He's the type of person that, well, you just have to trust him, and eventually the process will work. He is flamboyant, not flamboyant, but he really makes a name for himself on Twitter, especially when going up against Parabellum in those SI quals. That was exciting to see, and I think going up against SSG, honestly, just what do you like their odds going into closed SI quals? What do you think?
I like their odds a lot. That being said, playing against tier 2 competition or tier 3 competition is grossly different than playing against tier 1 competition in a best of 3 environment. I think a team like SSG that will have the opportunity to prepare for this event will be able to kind of, you know, pick apart the weaknesses and the tendencies that RealityTV might have, whether that be their adaptability or how linear their kind of attacks can be at times. There's an opportunity for them to kind of like go through the VODs and pick them apart that way. That being said, Mr. B is an entertainer. It's going to be a great show regardless. He always shows up in a big way. And I think that's why I'm looking forward to this match today, because it's, you know, yesterday was kind of like not the best time for RealityTV versus S2. You know, they maybe they came in a little bit too confident, so now they're going to hit the reset button going in through versus Wichita Wolves.
Yeah, Wichita Wolves, you mentioned it a little bit. They are missing one singular part. When they went up against HK Rebels, that was off stream. They went to Cafe. Really wasn't a match 7-2. It's not surprising considering how successful Wichita Wolves feels on that map, where they want to go. But, you know, of course, there is that S2 loss that RTV just kind of had to deal with. But I was mentioning that JJ, he is not here. He is being replaced by Fish, at least for the rest of the season. And that is a really interesting point, because he is kind of that main IGL for this team. It's that duking it out between him and Mr. B, personalities, IGLs in game. But somewhere, Wichita Wolves, they're going to have to find IGL in other places like Bino and Riot.
I mean, you can co-IGL in this game, but it's really hard to transition a team from taking away your primary IGL. Fish is not an IGL. He's a very good entry player. He's really good on the lurk. You put him in the secondary or primary entry role, he's going to find you these opening picks, and that's going to be helping a lot, especially when previously when we looked at how JJ was playing on this team, he was getting a lot of opening deaths, and it wasn't really helping this team out at all. So maybe with Riot and with Bino picking up the IGL, co-IGLing, they're going to be able to, you know, finally win some opening engagements and maybe be able to, you know, explode off of some pushes here. Like I said, Fish has got this like knack of finding like the little hole in the defender's defense and just exploiting it and putting themselves in positions where the defenders have to react to him. So he is a very big pickup for this team, but there's a lot of red flags when you're losing an IGL like that on such short notice. I don't know if this is going to be the cleanest game coming out from the side of Wichita Wolves.
Yeah, going over Bino, like a comparison between two players, Bino and Mr. B. Something to note is that it may seem like very one-sided either way. This is the first best of 3 that Wichita Wolves have played. They've avoided being close to elimination, but they also haven't had a chance at being promoted yet. So, well, they've just got to win it right here, right now. This is one chance that they get. Don't want to test your luck, but Bino, he's in the hot seat a little bit. He doesn't have he doesn't have JJ, but he's kind of got, Wichita Wolves. He is being compared to the legendary IGL of reality TV. So I know we're talking about co-IGLing, and unfortunately Riot just kind of gets to evade comparison, but still, Bino, he does put up good numbers regardless.
I mean, regardless of the numbers, I think the main thing we really want to look at here is the IGLing styles. We talked about how great of an IGL Mr. B can be in these tier 2, tier 3 conversations. But then when you look at Bino and Riot, who are going to be co-IGLing here, that is the big concern. Are they going to be able to remain coordinated in their pushes? Are they going to be skipping steps? Where are some of these big issues that are going to happen? Are they just going to throw caution to the wind and just go full aggression? That's why we're looking at these two as our point of comparison, because I think the gameplay style that we're going to see from both these teams is going to be dramatically different, just because one's going to have a solid sense of direction and one's still kind of figuring it out at this point.
But I mean, we'll see how these two teams kind of duke it out on their digital arenas. I mean, that is pretty important. Where RTV wants to go, where Wichita Wolves wants to head, can actually kind of decide the fate of this entire series. We're seeing kind of what can be considered the auto bans from this team Clubhouse border. Oregon was where Wichita went against LG. You were talking about that. You didn't really like that when taking that team there.
I mean, it's a questionable choice. Oregon has been the best map for LG all year. Like, all year in Challenger League. You do not take them to Oregon. That being said, the only team to ever beat LG on Oregon was RealityTV way back in Stage 1 when they were known as Took Kids. That being said, also big bans coming out here from the side of Wichita. Maps like Skyscraper. We've been seeing RealityTV play that map a lot as of late. They've been looking pretty solid. They've only lost it once in overtime, so this is one of their better maps. And then going into our first maps, we've got a cafe pick coming out here from the side of RealityTV, which is interesting because didn't we just talk about how Wichita Wolves 7-2'd the Hong Kong Rebels on cafe? So what are your thoughts? Like, why would they take them to a map like that?
Well, I think in the past, when these two teams potentially have met, you go back to maybe SFCL, LSR didn't have the best of times on Cafe, and RealityTV, they have gone through here before, but Chalet is another map pick that maybe leaves you scratching your head, at least for RealityTV. I know that it makes sense why Wichita Wolves wanted to go here, because that is where RealityTV lost against S2 in their first map. But I think a lot of that was actually down to the play style of S2. I don't know if it came down to the true map geometry, but I think overall, when you're looking at the entire thing as a whole, as Villa as our decider, it favors Wichita Wolves. It may be slight, but they have some sort of edge here.
I mean, if there was one thing going for them, they got the map bans down in their favor. Will it be enough? I don't quite think so. I think, and that's why when you look at the predictions here, you see everyone going for RealityTV. RealityTV is just too hot. Like right now, they're playing lights out Siege. They have for the last couple months. They know who they are. They know what they want to achieve. They are still kind of a new roster with the additions of Hat and Valor, but Valor's a proven player and so is Hat. So right now, RealityTV, they're like the team to beat out of all the teams that remain in the play day. I think for today, they're probably one of the toughest opponents that still remain. And I think that's why, like, every single player is, or every single caster or talent here is picking them to win this game. But if you had to give it to Wichita Wolves there, V, why are Wichita Wolves, what chance do they have? Like, what is going for them in this matchup?
I like Fish. I like his addition. I know that losing something like JJ, but if Bino can find something there, him and Riot get something going, I think the fragging department with Fish will just allow this team to explode if you get the correct combination. Because JJ died a lot. Like, first, I have no idea. He's more of a support player, yet he would always die first on like Smoke, Hard Breach. Like, this was a main problem for the team. So you have JJ gone. So now you've kind of assumed that role with somebody who will not do that. At least we think that he will mainly get those kills. So if you can solve that main wound of the shot calling, I think you might have a better team overall. But that's just speculation. I think we're potentially just saying that Bino and Riot might do as well as JJ, but I think that's a bold assumption on my part.
I mean, they're about to get tested by fire. We'll see after map 1 whether or not this is going to be a quick 2-0 for the side of Reality TV, or if this is going to be a back and forth slug match. I like your point about Fish. I think Fish, he's one of those agents of chaos kind of players, you know, a la Forrest or Rudy, those guys who just get in there and they cause problems for any team to kind of deal with, and they have to like basically come up with solutions on the fly. That is something Reality TV is known to do. You know, they always do seem to find a way to frag back. But Wichita Wolves, if they're able to play off of the strength of Fish to cause that chaos, and they're able to get aggressive or maybe, you know, pull back and keep Reality TV on their toes, this could be a far more competitive matchup than most people are expecting at this point.
Yeah, something interesting to notice that was we were talking about SI Quells. Reality TV are 2 matches away from going to the biggest event in like Rainbow Six esports. It feels like so easy to like, oh, only 2 matches away from going to SI, and they're facing up against Wichita Wolves. It's less of a David and Goliath type of thing, because I think these 2 teams feel a lot more even than something like an Astralis or HK Rebels. But clearly the side is much more favored for Reality TV. Everybody on the side of Talon. I was looking on Twitter. I think the Twitter poll is heavily favored on their side. We're going to have to see later, but it's just something about this team. Like you said, they're so hot. They're basically molten lava at this point. And it's crazy that they can do that with a relatively newer roster.
I mean, it's just the core. I think that's kind of like the big thing that impresses me the most about this team. The core of Mr. B's IGLing. Giddy on the back end, he's going to provide a lot of shot calling, a lot of like veteran experience where he's going to be able to look at the bigger picture. Even players like Valor. Valor, last time he played in Challenger League, was one of the top, or actually he was the top player in the entry department for the side of S2. So we're going to start going into this game, and I'm looking for that core to provide that ability that they need for this roster to kind of pull out ahead.
And as we get started on Cafe, Wichita Wolves probably need to get a fiery start against this team, because we're talking about how the map pool is favored against in favor of them. But the Twitter poll is not 88% to 12%. That might be one of the most one-sided polls that we have seen all season. It's a little surprising that it is this matchup, but the bans maybe will get something out of the ordinary that will decide whether or not some strats will have to be altered, but that wouldn't be too crazy. Dokebi, though, she is that first one going.
Is this a hot take to say Dokebi might be one of the strongest operators?
Not in my opinion.
This season of
not
Siege?
in my opinion.
Like her ability to be a 3-speed, her universal gadget helps you with your roam clear, especially now with the introduction of Solus being able to attack drones all the time and attack your flank drones. Dokebi is going to be able to give you that additional information. Flores is a powerhouse on Cafe. His ability to use his drones from on top of Skylight, be completely safe. Can completely dismantle a lot of defenses for defenders. And then Valk and Azami, those are pretty staple bans. Both of those operators are very strong on this map. Valkyrie in particular can be a real big pest, especially when it comes to trying to lock down your flanks and when opponents are trying to retake, you know, from a kitchen defense or trying to C4 opponents from below. Really strong operator. And then, of course, it's Azami. There's not really a whole lot
Don't
more
need
you
to do
have
much
to
more
say.
than that.
You don't really have to explain anything else past that.
Well, we head into the bar and we've seen who's taken off the board. It's not surprising that Wichita Wolves want to head up to this 3rd floor, but we've seen teams kind of feel a little bit more catered to those 2nd floor bomb sites. Reading, I think, has grown a little bit in popularity as Cafe is one of the older maps in the pool. People have started to figure out what to do on this map, how to attack it, how to defend it, and so you're always trying to find like what adaptations you can make on the defense to give yourself some sort of advantage when your opponent knows everything you're going to do through and through. But it seems like Wichita, they're not really changing anything so far. They're still kind of keeping with a core set. Maybe Riot on the dot is only the difference here.
And one thing I'm actually noticing there is there seems to be a little bit of coordination issues going on the side of the Wichita right at the beginning with the freezer wall. Are they going to reinforce that, or are they going to leave a shield there to play at the long angles? It seems like they're very much at this point going to be playing on the fly, maybe like a default kind of setup going into this game. And I think this is one of those sites that you really don't want to take a team like RealityTV to, just because of how much it depends on things that we call mini games. You know, clearing the pixel shield, clearing the freezer shield, establishing a foothold and map control inside a piano. These are all done with utilities and things that, you know, you do rehearsals for. So going to this site right off the bat, I don't know. This doesn't look like the best idea coming out from Wichita Bulls, but of course we're gonna have to see it play out to be able to fully determine that opinion.
Oh, we got Giddy in first floor, trying to see if they can catch the player who's hiding by Red Stairs. Bride, you might want to look down. Death might be waiting for you across the horizon. He does actually look down, spies the Nook, but gets his head taken clean off. So a good start for RealityTV. That means that Red Stairs is going to be a lot more clear, and with Hat dropping all the way, you've got Habana basically planting by now in Shaiko. Wichita Wolves need to take this Mr. B player down. Otherwise, well, with the diffuser down, you've got 40 seconds that you need to retake your own site and take out 3 players of RealityTV that have your number through and through. Wow. Huge round for RealityTV. Oh my goodness. Storming onto the site.
Statement round. I really like their use of tempo. They took the picks and immediately started taking map control. And we talked about how, you know, or I mentioned there briefly before the round just ended, that there's like a lot of mini games, and RealityTV just went, yeah, we're not dealing with any of that. We're not too worried about any of that. We're just going to go and take a launch right into the site. So they got the pick on the player on Red Stairs. They were able to get in Cigar and immediately started attacking the long bar angles, ignoring Pixel Shield altogether and going down for a plant. There was just not a lot that Wichita could do. They were on the back foot. They were having to react. There was chaos coming in from the Heaven window repel. And because of that, the bomb was able to get down successfully. And the Wichita Wolves, like, I can't even imagine what their comms must have been like in that round with everything happening all at once, just completely taken aback. I don't know. This might be a scary game. This might be a quick one if we keep seeing tempo like that.
I mean, I did spot like in the all chat, Bryce said he couldn't move, so that might have happened throughout the round. We didn't really actually have like any ability to see whether or not there was any technical issues, because the round literally just bam went by immediately with the snap of a finger. But we are having a rehost. There isn't too much to talk about because of how fast that round went, how much Wichita Wolves, like, you just had the main fight up on Red Stairs, and that was really the only thing. The floodgates kind of just burst open with that kill, and it's something that RealityTV struggled with against S2. S2 was always able to find the gap in map coverage and information, and they were immediately able to fill that void with, well, their own attack. And are we going to see that from RealityTV, where when they spot something a little off, they can really take advantage of that and absolutely encapsulate a mistake that Wichita are going to make?
I mean, you could see it, like I mentioned, with the setup from Wichita. It looked like maybe they're just running defaults. So as a result, maybe they're forgetting to get certain walls. With an immediate roster replacement, they probably didn't have time to go through and dry run all their strats that they wanted to do. So maybe the wall, we call it trash wall, from piano into the long bar, maybe that was closed up and the guy playing Pixel had no angle there, and they just saw the gap and they took advantage and they launched, which would have been, you know, if I saw that, that's kind of like the direction I would have gone if I was B. So it kind of makes sense that, you know, they're just finding these gaps and they're exploiting the fact that they've got a new roster player and they haven't had the time to do all like the little nitty gritty coordination pieces or the drills and the dry runs. And maybe that's going to be the name of the game here. If Mr. B can keep taking this tempo. I got a question for you though. Given how fast that round went, do you think Wichita, with their current roster changes, are going to be able to match that level of aggression? Or do you think they're going to, you know, try and keep giving them all this free space and taking a step back?
I'm going to hope that as we kind of progress through, maybe if we go on to bar or reading, that they will be able to. That potentially the alibi will actually have a roaming buddy that they'll be able to rely on to be able to potentially get refrags or something like that. But I mean, Giddy had some sort of aggression. I think there might have been information on where the alibi was, or just kind of, you know, good map sense, good game sense in general, because clearly Giddy, he didn't have like the best of matches up against S2. You really could ask for more against him, but clearly starting off that first round, you get the opening pick, and then, well, your team just wins the round just like that. But as Reality TV, they're definitely hoping that they could probably get this one over pretty quickly, not really make it any statement of sort after their previous match.
I think Giddy, hopefully Giddy's like, it was just a bad day. He's been one of those players throughout all of tier 2 that's been probably one of the most consistent players stage to stage. I feel like he's really put himself in a position to, make sure that he's always coming back from situations. So I hope that we're going to get a Giddy show this game. I'm a big Giddy fan. I'm just gonna come
Giddy
out
for Giddy.
I'm a Giddy stan. That's what I am. So I hope that he's going to be able to have a dominant performance. And if they got him on Knock and he's on a map like Cafe where he's completely at home and not on a map like Skyscraper, which is banned away, he's going to have, I think he's going to have a good day today.
So we're going straight up to the bar again. Same operators, same kind of level. So clearly Wichita Wolves, they're wanting to bring something different to the table, and it has to be positioning at this point. What they're doing is very similar to what they brought in the previous round. Like I said, maybe Bry will actually have somebody to help him on their own like Bino. So there is the shield there. They've got the ADSs, they've got everything they need. And I think I remember correctly, they did potentially have that there because they brought the exact same setup with the ADS, with the mute jammer. When teams always do the exact same site, the question you always have to ask is, what are you going to do different?
And well, here it is. You got Riot down inside of dining right now on the default cams. Looks like he's putting himself in a position to hop out on any player that comes out on the south side of Cafe. And if he's able to do this successfully, he might be able to net himself a free pick. That being said, this might not be what you want to see from a dog. So it looks like he ends up preparing it so that maybe they can do it later. And he's going to make his way to rotate back up top because, again, Reality TV are going to set this crazy tempo where they're just going to start trying to get in the map right off the bat.
I mean, you could probably actually have a more aggressive Doc. It does come with a risk because, one-shot headshot puts you to the ground. But Doc, he's able to take all this damage, stim himself right back up, and then just immediately try to take the gunfight because he's going to be at full health. We're going to see Twizzler actually back up to the bathrooms as the shield has not been dropped. I think another one will be thrown out, but the shield and the player are both gone from this earth. So it's another Wichita Wolves opening death. Somebody's going to have to fill that void, and it cannot be in that pixel spot.
And this is why, like I said, I don't like taking teams like Reality TV, these established teams, to the top floor side of this map. But when I was previously coaching, it's because teams are going to be able to get these mini games down pat really quick. And you saw how efficiently Reality TV was able to get that shield cleared and then also get the pick on the player playing behind the shield. And now they've got the foothold established. They're going to be able to set up a lot of these cutoff angles from the rappels and from Skylight. And the defenders, they don't really have a lot of positions here, V, to play behind.
Yeah, and as Bry gets taken out, there wasn't the space to give him the little stim. I think Bry is still having technical issues, having the rubber band bug, but maybe somebody else on Wichita Wolves will be able to pick up the slack. There is Riot. He's going to be able to get the kill, and I think he's able to stim himself right back up to full health. If Fish finds one, it's the lurking. He's sneaky right behind the corner, making it a 3v3, so not Reality TV. They just back off. They can't have the aggression that they once did.
It was curious decisions coming out here from Reality TV to just keep pushing forward with no info going forward. It looked like both, I don't even know who Ana de Armas is, but Kento and the Sophia player, it looks like both of them kind of got caught by surprise by the positioning of the defenders, which they really shouldn't have, given the fact it's a 5v3 and there's still 6 drones available for the side of Reality TV. That being said, we're going into a 1v1 or 1v3 for Fish right now. He's kind of put in a position here where he's going to be able to deny the plant. He gets the down, but he's immediately traded here by Giddy, who is able to get a nice headshot clean through the rotation angle on the trash wall. And that's going to put Reality TV up 2-0 going into this first map.
And, well, I don't know if we are going to get a rehost for Bry. I think we definitely are, so...
Oh, boy.
Well, I mean, Rainbow Six Siege, what a fun, technically great game, but it's something better from Wichita Wolves. I mean, Fish didn't have truly an opportunity to shine, maybe if he gets the 1v3, but it's still almost a 1-for-1 recreation of this round. But Forceful, we've talked about the first round. We talked about the second round. We're not going to waste your time. We're going to head straight to a break when we get everything figured out. We will be right back, so do not go anywhere.
Pollard's on a double though, and he finds a third through the smoke.
It's just an ump. Getting it to 3K with an ump.
With 3 seconds left, Final lands the pre-fire. Nobody can kill him in time. He clutches it out. What a play from the alibi as the lobby player goes unchecked. Pollard's on a double though, and he finds a third through the smoke.
It's just an ump. Getting it to 3K with an ump.
With 3 seconds left, Final lands the pre-fire. Nobody can kill him in time. He clutches it out. What a play from the alibi as the lobby player goes unchecked.
All I want for Christmas, Tanner, is a working video game. Like, can we get through
No.
this game, please?
I don't think you understand what game we're playing right now.
God.
Oh man. Well, we can hope. We can hope. Actually, you know, all I want for Christmas is for Wichita Wolves to not go back to that same site, which it looks like we're not.
Amen.
We're going to be going back to the kitchen now for the first time, because I'm just gonna be blunt here. That was not a great performance coming up from Wichita Wolves in those last 2 rounds on the top 4.
I mean, it wasn't smart to go back to the bar either. Like, there was a lot of things that Wichita could have done better, but I think we have the rehost. So talking about kills, I believe it is Fish and Riot who have the only kills on the board and the only cost points on the entirety of Wichita. Yeah.
Yikes! That is not a good look coming out here from Wichita. And they're starting to bring out operators like, you know, some trap operators. This might be a little concerning to me. You know, Capcan, this is one of his stronger sites. There's lots of doorways that attackers typically have to go through, whether that be reading or dining or through train, or even on the main floor itself, you know, launching through the freezer door. These Capcan traps can be powerful. Oh, I'm hoping it's deliberate and not in a reaction to not being able to get any picks right now, because only 2 players having any picks on the side of Wichita Wolves is probably the biggest red flag you could probably have. But 2 rounds in, it could be different. It could be different.
Oh no, Fish, one of your only gunners, gets shot out, I think in Christmas as well. So Reality TV, they just have the information. They have everything they need. They're droning out. Another member of Wichita Wolves almost gets beamed down. This is looking rough for this team. And maybe just the fact that the IGL really is the difference here, and that the fragging department is not going to make up for it. But this Wichita, at least in these first 3 rounds, seem to be immensely struggling.
It seems like there's just so much pressure coming out here in multiple different directions. You know, you see the Jackal playing up top, and he's going to quickly rotate down below. Them being able to clear out VIP is going to give him a lot of free real estate. And it seems like it's just a bunch of 1-for-1 gunfights coming out here for the side of Wichita, and they're able to pick back. Oh my, 3 picks now.
Riot.
Oh my god.
Riot, he's going off. He almost takes out Mr. B, but instead it's just a little bit of damage trading between them. So it's Mr. B and Hat trying to keep together. Reality TV's flawless. Bino just gets caught looking the wrong way, and eventually Riot gets his 4th. He's an ace on the horizon. What a change it would be for Wichita Wolves, as the information has to be there on the side of Wichita that they know where somebody on Reality TV is. Bry or Twizzler have not gotten a single kill this entire map so far in these first 3 rounds. One of them is going to have to get something. Otherwise, it's another Wichita loss. Twizzler gets locked inside of the freezer, has to jump through the window. He will, and Mr. B just tries to fake off a lot of damage trading, but eventually, Wichita, they get their final man. They do get the first round on the board. A lot of that thanks to one little cap can.
I mean, one little cap can did definitely make a difference there, especially on the taking out the Twitch player, who's going to be able to provide some counter pressure for the line to come and push in. That being said, I think the issues kind of started as soon as Reality TV started taking a lot of 1-for-1 gunfights without really any information. They were doing a really good job at the beginning, getting that early pick, setting up a lot of soft pressure, making it look like their presence was everywhere. That can be very confusing for a team like Wichita Wolves to kind of deal with. But then they just started pushing isolated engagements, taking these 1-for-1s that I don't think they really needed to take. And as a result, they got put on the back foot almost immediately, losing 3 1-for-1 gunfights, or 1v1 gunfights, I should say, in quick succession. As a result, it became a 2v4 for the side of the Wichita Wolves. And, you know, in this game, which is kind of starting to turn more defender-sided once again, that's not how you really want to stay in control of your rounds. You don't want to have to try and play from the back foot. But we're going into the next site here. We got Reading, and we have, wow, Solus just taking out all of the drones. There's only, am I reading that right? Is there only 1 drone left on the side? That can't be true. No, I see 2 drones right there.
I mean, they're looking at, yeah, I think there's two, maybe 3 potential drones. No, I don't believe it. Take Bry. No!
Oh, this game.
I didn't get my Christmas. I didn't get my Christmas wish. 3 in a. Come on, we're not even through round.
Hey, you know what? We're getting a good ratio here. All right, that's 1 per round.
That's not a good ratio. You should get like 3 per
series?
game, and that's
One
like
per series,
maybe in between that. Oh, okay. Well,
10 out of 10.
yeah.
10 out of 10 IGN. This game. Okay, well, I guess going into that last round, nice choice to not go back to the same site. It looked like Wichita Wolves kind of got their footing a little bit better, and it looked like RealityTV were getting a little bit more punished for their hasty decisions. There's still 2 more sites. I think if Wichita tries to stay away from that top floor site where that tempo really can be overwhelming for the defenders, if they go to reading, if they go to mining, there's a good chance that they can claw this back and get a reasonable half. But that being said, RealityTV's already got their 2-1 half on a map like this. We always talk about these 2-4 halves that you want to get. RealityTV's already got it. They're already in the driver's seat. Everything they get after this on the attack half is kind of gravy. I don't know. Maybe if everyone on Wichita can keep their internet working, this could be
Maybe.
this might not be that close.
Yeah, but I mean, Wichita, the round that they won, it was kind of the riot show. Like, it didn't feel like it was mainly due to factors that was everybody working together, strategy, everything and the sort. It was just mainly riot got a lot of darn kills. Like, you had Fish, who we were kind of toting as like a big fragger. He's only had a couple rounds to show, but he has at least shown up a little bit. He's gone first. You almost had another player gone. I still feel like a lot of the core problems for Wichita are still kind of there. So maybe getting a 4-2 is probably their best case scenario, but I still need to see something that isn't just one player, 1 or 2 people really getting frags, because it needs to be a core game prop. Like, they need to fix a lot of their core issues.
And it's kind of hard. We're giving a lot of analysis for not a lot of gameplay
4
here.
rounds.
I mean,
3 rounds.
3 rounds, right? So
Yeah.
it's still anybody's game. We're still very early into the series. Obviously, we gotta try and fill this a little bit. But
Well, we're on 25 minutes. 3 rounds.
3 rounds.
3
I mean,
rounds?
let's not bash the game. Let's not bash.
Let's not
Come
bash-
on. This is ridiculous. That being said, RealityTV, going into this next map, they got to anticipate, if I'm in Mr. B's shoes, you're going to be looking at what site to be going to next. Obviously, they got to see a little bit of the setup. We got to see Solus come in, and I think this is going to benefit this rehost, even though it is a Wichita Wolves rehost. It's going to benefit RealityTV quite a bit because they're going to be able to get those drones back. We saw Solus take out 2 drones in quick succession. Now RealityTV is going to get to keep that info. Maybe they keep their drones outside a little bit more, and maybe that's going to provide dividends at the end of the round, where typically there's not a lot of drones left. But it's curious to me that this is the first round on a defensive half. We're going into round 4 where we're actually seeing Solus come out. I figured this would be one of her strongest maps to be on. What do you think the logic is there?
I don't really know. I think, like, you had Bry on, like, the Alibi when you went to bar about 2 times. Why not bring the Solus? You're already putting Bry on that second floor. Alibi doesn't have that 1.5. Yes, she still got the shield. MX4 Storm's still a good gun. But Solus has clearly shown that she can be like an oppressive operator, like probably too strong of an operator. So why not bring the Solus? Help your team from underneath by showing where the drones are coming from, where you're potentially getting droned out from, because information, it's kind of, RealityTV are really using information to the best of their ability so far. It's why they've been able to get a lot of these opening kills. So Solus, I think that is definitely a good solution to that problem. But Wichita Wolves, they're going to have to find the drones again. They're getting a second chance at just destroying the drone economy.
I mean, if I'm RealityTV, the drones stay outside. We send one in to find out where site is, which they already know from the previous round. So if I'm B, I just tell, we're keeping our drones outside. Pick up your drones, throw them in later on, so that way Solus isn't going to get a bunch of free real estate on our information game. That being said, I'm surprised like the Solus wasn't picked for the knock at least. Like knock is like Solus is a hard counter to knock, right? When she's using her Al gadget, she's trying to sneak up these staircases. She's completely exposed to a Solus who's going to be able to find out where she's at. I'm surprised. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Solus brought every single round coming out going forward, just to counter that knock gameplay that we saw from Giddy round 1. And again, like attack their information, attack their drones, put them on the back foot, and they're going to have a lot of success here. We're seeing, I'd say, a fairly similar setup as last time. Like I said, Wichita's not really, doesn't look like they're running anything but defaults. So the big thing I'm worried about is, are they going to get opening picked here? And who's going to be in that position to take that opening engagement?
Yeah, so still windows being prepped. It is something we've seen from Wichita, is that sometimes they might not actually go for a peek. You might have with maybe Bry or Riot, but they're trying to spread fear into the hearts of RTV. Maybe just get one out of a lot of these rounds that could potentially net itself a kill. As RealityTV, they're aiming themselves towards one over by this north side, which, well, there's the Solus. There it is in pure action. It's Wichita Wolves getting their first entry kill, and it's mainly due to one Colombian operator.
Just, you know, you're on drone, so that means Solus knows where you're at, and you can't stand next to a softball. You know she's got impacts in her pockets. Great opening pick coming out here from Twizzler, getting himself on the board. We were talking about how it was the Riot and Fish show earlier. Well, now Twizzler's on the board. You know, hopefully he can start popping off. And now RealityTV have to play on the back foot here and try and clear out a couple mirrors and the pixel shield. Oh, and what a nice shot. Nice shot from Bry onto Hat, which is not Ana de Armas. I was really disappointed.
Yeah, it is not the movie star, but Hat is still definitely a good second place there. He usually can put up a really good frag show, but he's kind of relegated to the bench so far. As this is, I mean, it is like the third rehost, but maybe third time really is the charm, because Wichita Wolves seem like something's different. Like they have a plan. They're really winning their ones in this scenario. That is mainly the one thing. And if they can continue to hold this top floor, RealityTV is going to have really no option but to try to rush the site, and that is really not a good thing to do when you don't have top floor control.
I mean, we talked about how the Solus was able to take out the information. They were completely surprised here by the mirrors being put up, and they're just kind of walking at them. They didn't really bring anything as a solution to counter these mirrors. They're going to be able to get the top floor control. The rest of Wichita Wolves are going to fall off, but it's going to cost them another body. And now RealityTV are in a 2v4 situation. They don't have the ability to establish vertical control on a site where you really need vertical control to push in without just having to go through a doorway. And this is really looking like another one of those Wichita rounds back to back.
And well, they do have top floor control. The amount of bodies that they have means that really you're going to have to drop to that second floor, because someone's going to have to plant and somebody's going to have to defend that plant. Mr. B's walking through mining, but the amount of time that's on the clock compared with the fact that he has been spotted means that his days potentially might be numbered. Tanner, we are going to see Kento find one, but Bino and Twizzler just end the round just like that. So Wichita, they're back at 2 rounds. It may have been a catastrophic first 2, but these next 2 immediately fall in their favor.
I think as soon as you force a team like RealityTV, like we said, to start taking map control, don't play the top floor side. I really don't. Like, it shows that they're going to go back to Bar Cocktail here, but I think that's actually a misplay. I honestly think like you should go to a mining here, because one thing the RealityTV have been struggling on the sites where they have to establish map control is the information game and winning these opening picks. They're very slow. They're taking a lot of 1-for-1 engagements. They're just walking at Wichita. And Wichita, you know, they brought mirrors. They're like, you know, we're happy to take these 1-for-1 engagements with information all day. And I think by going to a site, again, the top floor, running, oh, this is a different lineup. They have a mirror now. So maybe it's different, going to be a different outcome this time. But I don't like how, I don't like, I guess the best way to say this is the time management that it takes to take a lot of map control on this map is something that RealityTV is really struggling with. They're attacking in the last 10, 15 seconds, and they're trying to walk at their opponents here, and they're they're to find that success. Whereas on the top floor site, like I said, there's no control they have to take. There's the time isn't a factor. I don't like this. I don't like this decision.
There's a large contrast in between the first 2 and the next 2, but you just cannot ignore how those rounds went in the beginning. Twizzler, though, being on the Solus, that is the solution that we kind of presented, that you can have the player go on the second floor, go on the first floor, and still help your team out. But Wichita, I think if they do win this far area, that could show a much different team. Bry gets bounced off the balcony with the air jab. A great play there from Valor, completely ready for it. And that's a Wichita Wolves member off the board.
I respect that so much from Valor. He was prepared. He knew that jump out was coming, and he had the air jab set up right off the bat to punish him. I don't think I've ever seen a kill like that where the hop out gets impacted by an air jab in the first 20 seconds of the round for the opening pick. That's just good heads up play coming out from the side of Valor and from the side of Reality TV to get that opener.
He fell. It was also the fact that he fell off as well. Comedy of errors for Bri, but he's gonna have 2 minutes to just kind of sit back and refresh. Luckily, Valor, he may have been the cause of that Warden's death, but he is most dearly going to pay for it. Riot is behind this shield. He has to worry about the window and also the players coming from the piano side window. He actually backs off. That may give the cigar control on over to Reality TV if they truly want to take it, but the black mirrors are in control. We didn't really talk about Mira making it through the ban phase, the impact that she can have on this third floor site if teams really choose to bring her. And Reality TV didn't deal with her that well when they had to kind of deal with her in the previous round.
This is easily her best map, I think, in all of competitive Siege. Her mirror placements really force attackers to have to attack a certain way, forces teams to do cocktail takes, which most T3 and Tier 2 teams are not comfortable with doing. Like, it's not something they've really rehearsed, and forcing them to just walk into drone work, or walk into the black mirrors rather. Again, it's free real estate. It's free info. You're going to be able to get a free engagement, and unless they're getting pre-fired and you're swinging into a pre-fire, there's not a whole lot that Reality TV are going to be able to do to counter these mirrors. Just like that. Like, that was the freest kill of Bino's career right there.
Yeah. Free as day. He actually gets caught out, droned down, goes potentially behind the black mirror, but Riot gets caught out, so it's just going to have to be Bino. I feel like Wichita Wolves had so much going for them. They had the black mirrors, they had map control, and then they like blinked and it was just gone.
Well, of course, to use the black mirrors, you have to play behind the black mirrors and not in the middle of the hallway. But you know, obviously bringing in the pressure coming in there from the heaven window or from the cocktail window there, and being able to pressure out that one mirror in cocktail to open that up eliminates a very strong defender position. It works both ways. Once there's a hole, right, they're not going to be able to play there for free anymore, and as a result, they're able to force the defenders back into a corner and take a lot of this free map control. And then it was just a pick after pick after pick coming out from the side of Reality TV. And again, I harken back to my point at the beginning of that round. It's a questionable choice to go back to a site that you've now lost 3 times in one defensive half. That just seems like bad decision making in my mind.
I mean, yeah, hindsight is a powerful thing, but every single round of bar kind of went the same. Kitchen was the first time we saw a variation of that. It's when Riot just went absolutely nuclear, got a 4K on this side, and we might not have a similar round, but I think Wichita Wolves have definitely started to wake up. There are kills all across the board. Funny enough, the only person who hasn't gotten a kill since the rehost is actually Riot. So you're not just looking at 1 or 2 players to find kills. It is everybody on this defensive side. I think, was that Kento who just like barely avoided getting detected through the window? I think they gotta thank their lucky stars that the height is that small.
I mean, the fact, yeah, Kento's just barely, you know, scraping by there. I do like the aggression early on coming out from Wichita. They don't feel afraid to challenge deep angles or jump out on their opponents. I like the fact that they're not just giving a lot of free real estate to Reality TV anymore. I hope on a site like this, we're going to see a little bit more competitive nature coming out from Reality TV. Last time they played this, their biggest issue was they had no info. They walked in blind. They took a bunch of 1-for-1 engagements that were like a 50-50 essentially. There was no Ying Candelas coming out to push people out of positions. There was no real info to, like, you know, flash and nade people out of positions. And now it looks like Reality TV have adjusted, and they're going to be going for a more direct take using Ying to try and give themselves the space that they need to take map control.
The adjustment might be enough as they do catch Bino off guard. And now the drones are kind of going to do most of the legwork here. Spots out Ryan, who actually does not move from this position. He just stays back there. The frag grenade goes wide. So he's really going to have to do a lot of work. Okay, finds the kill onto Kento with potentially the last bullet he had. But it is going to be the last bullet he fires in this match. And Bry is going to have to perform amazingly in this round. But he can't even find one. Previously as RealityTV, now they get a 4-2 split, and I think for Wichita that's probably, like I said, the best that they could have done.
It's rough. That's a rough half to have to do on your defensive half, especially when you're a new team. And we're talking about earlier at the beginning of the broadcast how, you know, the big challenge for Wichita is going to be in their IGLing. When you have weaker IGLing, or not weaker IGLing, but IGLing that's like developing and starting off, you really want your defensive half to kind of be your foundation for your attack half. And now with only 2 rounds on their defensive side, this is not looking very favorable for Wichita. We're going to have to see if the side of Abino and Riot can kind of muster up the troops here and get them to fight cohesively, because, you know, doing an IGL for one of your first games here, like their first official game, this could be a very rough performance on the attack half, and we're just going to have to see what the coordination levels from Wichita are going to look like.
I mean, it's a difficult stage to kind of have your first IGL showing off, because literally this is probably the only place that you could show it off, and it's the best place, but you've got so many eyes on you. And you just might not be up to the task. Like, that's pretty blunt, but it's sometimes it takes time to kind of gather how good you can be at IGL. JJ didn't like walk out of the gym and just be good at IGLing. He's been in the scene for a long time, and he gained a lot of that, you know, improvement from just doing it over time. But clearly, like, in the frags department, Wichita are doing well. Like, they're not having, like, you know, a Riot 4K, 3K from Bino, but still they're consistent overall across the board.
Oh, wow. What a sneaky kill coming out here from Bry for a first pick onto Valor. And I'm looking at this lineup coming out from Wichita, and, you know, they don't have any hard breach. I think they're just going to forgo that, and they're just going to start pushing and looking for picks here. I do like the Ying pick coming out from the side of Wichita. Their ability to be able to use their Candelas and to create space and to create picks for themselves is going to be extremely favorable, especially now with the ADS change going to 1 speed for all operators. But as I say that, Twizzler's going to try and make a move onto Mr. B, and Mr. B is just going to take a free kill on the vaulting animation of the Buck, pushing in it through the mining window.
Did he have information? Like, did he clearly didn't have anybody around him. It seemed like he was just kind of going in blind, hoping there wasn't anybody there. So now Wichita, they don't have the hard breach. Their goal was probably with Twizzler to hop in and just try to force players out of Cocktail, potentially out of the freezer area. And they don't have that anymore. The frag grenades are still definitely an option from Bry, but the amount of drones, you need to snake a drone on in there, find somebody, and everybody from RealityTV are just kind of spread out, but there's fish on the red stairs, meaning that I think RealityTV don't have any more roamers. You just got mainly centered around the site. One by Pounds, one inside of Cocktail, and the other all the way over in Cigar Shop, and maybe this drone will make a dent. Is it going to find anybody? No. Just goes a little bit too far.
Oh, nice pick coming out here from Fish. Good heads-up play to rotate to the pillar's position and to be able to stand on the table to get that angle. I was going to say the only thing Wichita really had going for them was going to be whether or not they could get any of these nade picks from below. But with Fish's positioning there, none of that really matters. And now you've got a 2v4 for the side of RealityTV with Hat and Kento just trying to hold on for dear life. It's going to come down to this execute. Bino's going to be able to get one onto Hat, and then it's going to be a quick succession here as there's going to be a nice trade coming up here from Skylight for the Wichita Wolves. And maybe, you know, maybe I was wrong. You know, maybe Wichita Wolves have actually got the right idea on how they want to attack the site. Maybe if they just keep playing for these picks and keep getting one after one, they're going to keep putting themselves in a position here where they're going to be able to pull out these round wins.
But RealityTV, though, they are learning from the mistakes of their opponent. They're going down to kitchen. They are not attempting to go to bar because, well, I mean, there were still 3 players alive. It was still pretty one-sided in the favor of Wichita Wolves. So Kitchen is where we are going to see round 8. And it's, well, Capcan, Kento is just going to hop on the trap operator himself. It has made an impact. I mean, in the first or the second round, we saw it get a kill for Ryan. In the last time that Wichita Wolves went to this Kitchen site, it softened a lot of Reality TV players enough that maybe a kill could have been earned, but it was still in the favor of Reality TV. So we'll have to see if Wichita are going to probably enter towards Bakery, if they're going to do a top-down type of play, but it's really going to come down to really what those IGLs, what are Bino and Ryan going to tell their players to do?
Well, it's interesting because you can kind of see it already unfolding just based on the operator selection coming out from Wichita Wolves. If you notice, they don't really have a lot going in the direction of hard breach, or sorry, of soft destruction to get that floor open. They might be bringing soft breach charges with Thatcher, but an Ace, but they're not going to bring any with the Ash. That's going to leave them really vulnerable to things like C4. Placing those breaching charges down on the ground or onto the floor above would make it really difficult for them. So I think they're going to probably go for a little bit more of a direct approach here, using the Thatcher and Ace to get it open any of the walls that they want to get open. And I think they're going to forego trying to clear the vertical pressure from the side of Reality TV.
And you're seeing that the front door being shot open, a lot of drones heading towards Christmas. So you're right, they are seeming to go for a more horizontal play. Fish has hopped in, seeing if he can catch anybody just angled from that freezer area, but I don't think Valor truly knows his position. He does catch the Ash skedaddling away, but a kill evades him right now, and there is Fish going for the peak. Gets his head blown clean off. So now Wichita have to work without one of their main entries in the previous run. He made a lot of angles work, and a lot of times Reality TV just could not deal with this Ash, but now that Ash is gone off the board. Somebody else on Wichita has to fill that void.
I mean, I don't know if you really can, because there's a lot of utility and a lot of people you have clear outside of Bakery here. You know, Mr. B is just playing here with his my magnets, basically keeping himself alive. And as long as he's here, he's going to be wasting time. And we're almost at halfway point in the round. I don't think you can really fill Fish's position at this point. And it looks like Wichita, they might have to figure out a different way they want to do this approach. The goal here is for Bino to open up the wall inside a small bakery, so that forces Mr. B out. But if Mr. B can just tuck into this corner here, he can continue to be a pest. And, well, it looks like he's just going to be able to fall off altogether. So then all that time that he wasted, there's no like gain on the side of Wichita Wolves there.
So now you're going to have Mr. B. He's going to have full health compared to somebody like Bry, who's still going to be able to find a kill on Duhat despite his, well, injured status. So now Reality TV, they've started to actually move forward despite Wichita Wolves actually gaining a lot of map control. Giddy has the information, has the Z-pings, and works wonders off of it. So Wichita work with 2 players down as Giddy finds his third. Is he going to get the 4th? It's just Bry, who's barely breathing inside of Prep. All he needs is one little bullet, potentially to any part of the body. It's not going to be Giddy getting the 4K. It's going to have to be somebody else's. Well, with a 2v1, 20 seconds left, Bry does not have the diffuser, and despite his probably optimism in this scenario, there isn't really a chance here, Tanner, for him to walk away with the scenario. Yep, he just looks away at the last second, and Valor, he started the round, and he ends it just like that.
Yeah, there's also information on him the whole time. Reality TV had a bulletproof inside of sight. You could hear the Z-pings going off. So it was a 2v1 with information, with no time. There wasn't really a whole lot Bry could do to kind of pull that back. It's a nice valiant effort, and Giddy 2 Liddy, he just had an absolute massive round with a flank down Red Hall. He picks himself up a nice 3K, and he's now sitting comfortably at a 7-3. And like I said, you know, I don't think we're going to see a bad Giddy game like we saw the other day versus in his last performance there versus S2.
Bomb located by attackers.
Yeah, I mean, 7-3, and I think that's just for the rehost. In his 3 rounds, I think he may have gotten like 2 or 3 as well, but I guess we'll never truly know until the end. So with Reality TV, they have a 2-round lead. They make the decision to head to Bar. That has been a cursed site. Why would Reality TV go here when you've still got reading. I just do not like the odds
I don't like
when
this
clearly the pattern is not in their favor.
This is the fourth. We've seen this site now 5 times.
Five times.
This is the 5th time. The 4 previous times the defending team has lost this site. Why are we going back to the site? Obviously, you know, 3 of those are on the side of Wichita Wolves. Maybe RealityTV are going to be able to make some adaptations here to change, but it looks like we're seeing a very similar roam with Mr. B on the Jaeger down below, the same operator lineup coming out relatively here, and the same cigar hold coming out for the side of RealityTV. And if Wichita were able to piecemeal it last time, why not give them a different look? Why not go to a different site where maybe they're gonna have to perform in a different way? But here we go. We got a quick plays coming out here from the side of Wichita Wolves. They're gonna try and clear the cigar player by coming up red stairs, and they're not gonna be successful. Somehow, Hat is gonna be able to keep himself alive, and he's still gonna be able to maintain that control inside of cigar itself, forcing Wichita Wolves to make a rotation and possibly come up white stairs instead.
And call that man Neo, the way he was just able to avoid every single one of those bullets, not take any damage, so he still gets to stay in cigar. Hold that position with the shotgun. He is not moving from that position. I think a drone might have assisted Bry, but clearly they don't truly know where the smoke is just yet, and that might lead to exactly the Yana's death. But Wichita Wolves, they're still wanting to get the information, not be too cautious of where they want to go, but eventually that does get spotted, not directly, it was indirectly with the shot on the drone. So now Wichita Wolves, they're kind of hanging just around the map control that they need to take, but it's still going to be a little bit before they actually can capture it.
Wichita, they didn't bring the tools that they need to clear out the cigar player. Typically, to clear out the cigar player, you're going to have to open up the castle that goes into piano. And without that being opened up here, okay, just finally now is getting opened up by Fish. Basically, Hat's going to be able to play in this corner tucked up for free the whole time. And as you can see, he's wasted so much time. Yes, he's out of smoke canisters, but it's 2 minutes, and Wichita don't even have the control as they try to push in here.
I don't think they know that the smoke is around. It's not a direct trade. It's actually Mr. B who finds the 2 that enter into Cigar Shop. He does get downed by Fish, so we're at a 3v3. There's a lot of time for Wichita to work with. They have the diffuser. They have a cigar. Actually, they don't have cigar control. Kento's still going to be able to hold it inside a bathroom, inside of the pixel shield, and that's just going to allow RealityTV to work their magic. Take 1 off the board. Is another going to fall? Is Riot? He can plant behind Shaiko, but that's not the optimal play here. And honestly, he doesn't really have any optimal moves because all of them might risk death. Fish finds 1, Riot finds the 2nd, so now Kento has to walk back and potentially shut down this plant. He goes all the way back to Cigar Lounge, and he spots 1. Is Riot right around the corner? He's all the way over in Cocktail. We're at a 1v1. Wichita needs this round to really feel safe on Cafe. Riot angles towards the Wamai, cannot win the gunfight, and Kento is just gonna take his time, find that diffuser, and with so much time on the clock, puts RealityTV on map point.
That was a very tremendous clutch coming out here from Kento, given the fact that he had no info on where the plant was going down exactly, and he was able to find that really pivotal kill onto the coverage of the planter and get himself into that 1v1 kill. I like his ability to go in and identify that the bomb is going down. He needs to take his 1v1 versus the guy who's not planting the bomb. He manages to get that really quick pick there in behind the cocktail wall, and then he's going to be able to push up and get the final pick on there. Absolutely clutch coming up from RealityTV, putting them on match point. And just one thing I want to highlight before I throw is Wichita Wolves are not clearing any of the information on site. That entire round, there was a bulletproof under the new hatch that basically Mr. B was sitting on throughout the entire duration that he was dead, giving out callouts on the Wichita Wolves advance. And this is the 2nd round in a row where he was able to do that and put Wichita like in a very unwinnable position. They almost did that round, but I'm curious as it's interesting to me that Wichita is choosing not to clear things like information on attacks where they're trying to go and get the plant down.
I mean, they spent so much time outside of Cigar. Like, you saw the smoke was wasting time. Everybody was outside the windows, and they just kind of waited. Like, maybe waited for the smoke to dissipate, which was like, that's about 40, 50 seconds. And they still didn't take Cigar control. because Kento was just able to really hold it. He wasn't the one to find the kill of the player inside of sight. That was actually, I think it might have been Mr. Giddy or somebody, but it doesn't even matter at this point because Cigar wasn't taken, despite Wichita Wolves dedicating a lot of players on the windows, dedicating a lot of drones, and just like nothing came of it. It was still just kind of a lot of blind fights on their side. Honestly, it was surprising that it was as close as it was.
I was surprised that they were able to get those 2 picks and then get a 2v1 post plant. That being said, they just had very poor positioning in the post plant, and of course, Kento is Kento. That man is a tour de force when it comes to the fragging department. He absolutely 100% played that properly by making sure to take advantage of the bomb going down in his engagements, and then that afforded him 2 fair gunfights versus the players in Cocktail, which is why he was able to pull out that clutch.
I mean, this was a problem that Wichita had. It's not the same site. The site is actually on the 2nd floor, but Hat's still gonna be able to really fire back against this attack. He takes a lot of damage. Actually, Giddy takes a lot of damage along with Fish. And so far, Wichita Wolves, they have gained a lot of map control on the 3rd floor, but not truly the one they want. They haven't taken Whitehall. They haven't taken Cocktail. And that's where Mr. B and Hat reside. There's a lot of time for this attack to work with, but they probably need to go sooner or later. If they take 40 to a minute to really clean this out, there's going to be no time for them to work the site.
Especially with a Pulse providing information the whole time. That's once again going to be the downfall of Wichita here, as Kento's going to be able to get an opening pick, which is immediately traded out by Riot.
Oh, Riot, I guess, just tries to enter the site by himself. He gets severely punished for it. So Wichita Wolves, they're trying to like scrape together scraps of a push. Like Fish just tries to walk in through Fireplace. I think at this point, it feels like an individual performance, individual-sided game. As now, it's just Twizzler alone. He's just up on the 3rd floor. He's not really going to be able to do much with the vertical play. And I think now, unless he can actually get maybe 1 pick, maybe even damage onto Kento at this point, the round is starting to come to a close. As the seconds tick down, Wichita Wolves will see this map pick just kind of eventually slip away before their eyes. They have 1 more shot. They have that 2nd map of Chalet as Twizzler does try to put the diffuser down. This match is not over yet, but now with 8 seconds left, he finds one. He has to turn right back around, but it's like chasing ghosts. The shell think he does find Giddy, but just hiding is Kento, and now he can just take his wonderful time and give Reality TV that map.
And there you go, Reality TV. They chose to come to Cafe, despite the fact that Wichita Wolves, last time that they played this map, they were able to win it 7-2. It very much looked like Reality TV were in the driver's seat of that entire round. Very standout performances coming out from Mr. B and Giddy, who were able to Giddy putting up monster numbers, and Mr. B just finding a way to be impactful round after round, whether that be the double swing on the Cigar players there or wasting 2 minutes behind the Cafe Bakery counter and just wasting a ton of the time coming over here from Wichita. We're definitely seeing that, you know, that map, Reality TV were in the driver's seat, and Wichita Wolves left something, especially on that attacking half, something to be desired in terms of their tempo and how they're going about clearing the roamers from the side of Reality TV.
You could kind of feel the lack of an IGL on the side of Wichita Wolves. I think that last round rang especially true for that, because sometimes they just seemed lost in the early rounds, in the late rounds of the map. The middle part was a lot better, but just there was a lack of focus, sometimes a lack of drive on their side, and I just think they weren't as good as they could have been without somebody like JJ. And that's just making the assumptions off of what we were able to see on this map. This was not their map pick. I think that is something to be stated, because they could have a much bigger improvement on Chalet, but still not a great opening performance from Wichita Wolves.
No, and especially when we're looking and we're talking about like these mini games, or there's certain ways to clear things out. They were really slow, and that's typically what you see of new IGLs. They understand the big picture, what they want to do, but they're very disjointed in how they go about doing it. They're skipping steps. They're taking top red control before they ever get the castle open. On the Cigar player is a great example, where we're just allowing the smoke to sit there and waste 2 minutes of time, and for Mr. B to get the pick when you do eventually funnel through one doorway into a smoke shotgun. It's not ideal, and I think that's where they're really lacking, is with JJ not being there. They're not going to be able to get their coordination is just not as tight as it used to be, and they're trying to find ways to adapt. Luckily, Cafe is one of those maps where that's really important. On Chalet, however, it's a way more frag-centric map, and those like little mini games aren't as dominant. I think the only really big one that comes to mind is trying to clear the shield on top mezzanine or top blue on maybe a games defense. But that being said, that first map, very strong performance from RealityTV, like we mentioned. They looked really strong going into map 2, and I don't know. What do you think, V? Do you think they're going to pull it away?
I think RealityTV, I'm going to have to see something like Bino and Riot drive this team to the finish line on that second map. We're going to swap to a quick break before that second map. Do not go anywhere. Wichita will still have a shot, and you'll have to see there to believe it. We'll be right back.
Collins on a double, though, and he finds a third to the smoke.
It's just an ump. Getting into 3K with an ump.
With 3 seconds left, Simon lands the pre-fire. Nobody can kill him in time. And he clutches it out. What a play from the alibi as the lobby player goes unchecked.
Looking at the replays you see before your eyes, it's Wichita Wolves starting out in the defense on Cafe. Wasn't a great start, probably, I think potentially the worst that you could have started out with, but it seemed like they started to bounce back, but Reality TV, they just snuffed that out about as quick as they could. You saw the round, it ended in a 7-3 scoreline. The second map, I mean, coming off of Cafe, what will Wichita Wolves need to do to kind of regain some composure and start off map 2 with a good bang?
I think they just need to tell themselves, you know, we win a best of 3 in 3 maps. You know, you always go into it expecting to win your map and the decider. That wasn't their map. That was Reality TV's map. So if I was Wichita Wolves right now, I'd be taking a breather, taking a step back, telling everyone, calm your nerves, all right? Let's focus in. We know what we want to do because we're going to Chalet. That's a map that we've proven to be strong in the past. It's a map that Reality TV has proven to be, you know, not so strong in, having lost it versus S2 yesterday. So that's all they really got to do. And hopefully that allows them to make some better decisions. I think ultimately what ended up costing Wichita Wolves that map was some of their decision making or some of the processes that they were doing, whether that's clearing out Cigar or whether that's losing Cocktail 3 times in a row on their defensive half. Like, those are just poor decisions, and hopefully going into their comfort zone, going into a map like Chalet, they might be able to do that a little bit better. But talking previously about the previous map here, you know, obviously huge performances coming out here from Giddy, and I wanted to mention Mr. B just because of how consistent he was every single round. You see him finishing the first map with an 80% cost. That's about as good as you're going to be getting from your IGL. That's exactly what you're looking for, is that consistent presence that's going to be able to make impact happen every single round.
Yeah, I mean, it's not surprising that you had Reality TV put up these numbers considering the end scoreline, but the entry game really was on their side. When RTV played up against S2, they struggled a little bit. A lot of times when they got the opening kill, it got refragged, and a lot of times they just ended up with the opening death. So to start off on their own map pick, take Wichita Wolves in a lot of these early parts of the round and just give themselves a natural advantage. It's nice to see that change of pace from S2, but I mean, Chalet, it is not RTV's map pick, so maybe Wichita Wolves are gonna, you know, have that comfort.
I mean, they gotta hope, they gotta pray. Yeah. But like, if they're not going to be able to tighten up on these entry picks, they're going to be sitting there on the back foot once again. And I still think Reality TV is going to be able to just control the tempo, control the pace of the round, and just absolutely punish Wichita Wolves for like just not clearing utility or not clearing roamers out efficiently or not doing it in a manner that is advancing the round at all. There, you know, there's sometimes in that last map where there's like, I keep going back to the Cigar because that was probably the most dominant, but you could also look at the Bakery attack where they weren't able to clear the Wamai. They're just wasting their own time on these attack halves. And Chalet is a map where there's a lot of things you got to get done. There's a bunch of walls you have to open and sequencing that you need to do, especially for sites like Kitchen or for Wine. You could kind of explode into them a little bit, but if you're not exploding, you got to be efficient with your time. And that just seems to be the big red flag for Wichita Wolves from the last map. And I hope they're able to adjust it going forward.
And I think Wichita, they're starting on the defense again. They need to get something done on the defense. Like, I think a 4-2 is probably the baseline for them because, I mean, considering how unstructured a lot of their attacks are, getting like a 2-round buffer between them and RTV is probably going to be like a go-to from the beginning. So we'll see if like any of their attacker bans, defensive bans, I think they probably keep the Solus. I would hope that the Solus still stays in because they need honestly every advantage that they can get on that defense.
Yeah, and then going into the attacking half, one thing I noticed I thought was kind of questionable, and there it is again, was the Dokkaebi bans coming out from the side of Wichita Wolves. One of their biggest issues, like I mentioned, was clearing roamers. Dokkaebi is one of those operators that can dramatically assist you in finding where these roamers are at and being able to punish them. And with Dokkaebi going out right off the bat, it kind of seems like we're going to be getting a little bit more of the same coming out here from Wichita Wolves with that comfort pick being consistent from map to map. Not going out, Valkyrie going out. Those are two really big operators that can dominate this map, especially with Nox basement entry on Chalet is probably one of her best maps, being able to come in through the basement and pick people apart. And same with Valkyrie. This is another great Valk map there are tons of nooks and crannies in the ceilings of the top floor that you're going to be able to hide these cameras and provide consistent information. And then Azami, there's again, I'm going to echo last map. There's not really a whole lot to say with the Azami band. She's such a strong operator. She's able to create a ton of new angles for defenders to play and put themselves in the driver's seat. So Azami band is pretty default at this point.
Yeah, and especially on something like Chalet, when you're kind of able to hold that top library with a lot of those Kiba barriers, block needs, just kind of use it as more of a solo hold with with shields with ADSs. That just creates a whole lot of chaos for the attack as well. Wichita Wolves, they're not going to start on second floor. They're not going to start kitchen anything. It's going to be the Bar Games defense, and that's not too surprising. This is a very popular site, but the operator choices are probably the thing that we can notice. We can notice the Soulless, who Fish, I think it was Fish on Wichita Wolves. We saw a lot of times it was just being passed around. Like, it might have been Bry one round, it might have been Twizzler one round, now it's Fish on the Soulless. So this is kind of an operator that you just kind of put on one of those roamers and say, all right, just go do the thing that Soulless does.
Yeah, and I think RealityTV are demonstrating a great adaptation to the Soulless pick by leaving drones outside. Last time we saw Soulless on the play, we noted that RealityTV lost like 2 or 3 drones in the prep phase. Well, now you can see all the drones are outside, and RealityTV still have all 9 of them, which is that's such a massive situation to be in, where you're able to get that late round information. You're not stuck waiting for info. You're not walking into ratting defenders, and I think that's such a big a smart adaptation coming out from them, as they look to be doing a top full clear or a full top floor clear. By the looks of it looks like they're going to try to clear out Master and the guy who's playing in the library corner, who manages to get out for free.
I mean, Twizzler didn't really want to do much. He kind of wasted 1 frag grenade, but still didn't really hold top of library. That was his kind of main goal, just maybe draw out a frag grenade, potentially get a kill if anybody on RealityTV strays a little bit too far away. But Ryan is really that person that is trying to hold on library. I think Bry is also in that little cubby area. He's actually on top of library hall, so... Well, he's got a little less utility to help him. A great little play by Hat, but there goes Fish. Giddy just makes it look easy. And now Wichita Wolves have 1 less player to try to hold against this attack.
I mean, clearing out those ADS is going to make taking this top floor shields relatively easy for the side of RealityTV, and that's some really solid flank watch coming out here from the side of, or from Giddy specifically, being heads up, ready for the Soulless and Fish to try and go for that flank. And once again, it's like a rope is being tightened around the neck of RealityTV. It's slowly starting to suffocate how they're going to be able to play. They're losing position after position here with the shields, and they're going to have to start getting real aggressive here if they look to have any chance of winning this round. But like, they're just getting picked apart with utility right now, and fundamentally being put on the back foot. And as we get into a 1v4 for Bino.
Good shot there on the Kento, but the health is a factor. And, well, we kind of have to take into account he's under 50 HP. He has to deal with 3 members. Takes off Hat's head. His hat is no longer attached to his head. Mr. B just doesn't spot Bino, and it might have been a 1v5, but Giddy puts a stop to the Scourge that was the member inside of Supply Closet. Wow. That was the weirdest 1v5 that we might have ever potentially seen. Nobody tried to shoot him. Nobody.
It's so that 1v5 was so fundamentally different to how they picked off the other 4 defenders on the side of Wichita Wolves, with utility, taking out their positions, clearing off their like the shields and ADSs. But no, they're just gonna leave a Frost with a 1.5. That's all she had. That's all she has in there, is just her 1.5. They're just gonna 1-for-1 peek her. What is? Oh man, that's thank God Giddy's on RealityTV, because he was able to clean up that mess. But that was a very good effort coming out here from Bino, being able to put out 4 of the attackers on RealityTV, and almost being able to clutch that 1v5. That would have been huge for Wichita if they were able to win that.
I mean, put that man on the Ocean's 11 crew with the heist that he almost pulled off right there. And Wichita Wolves, even though, like, Yes, there was one player between you and victory. That was a bad round. Like, for Wichita Wolves, it should have been a flawless round. So something is going to have to change, whether it's how these roamers play around each other. I think Fish has to survive for longer, even like drain some utility, drain some health off of anybody on reality TV. Don't just go down without a fight, because that's kind of what it seemed like for a lot of players on Wichita Wolves, is they would take these gunfights and just could do nothing but die.
Yeah, well, they had no positions to play anymore. Like I was mentioning, like just clearing of utility was textbook there. The one playmaker that they had on that entire strat was their flanking player, and he died right off the rip to a good flank watch coming out from Giddy. So now it's just going to be like, I don't know. I feel like what the biggest issue was, they were just too stationary in the way that they were playing, and I think it looks like there's going to be a little bit more of the same here with your top mezzanine player. I don't know. He's just not moving from this position. There's going to be utility to clear him out, and hopefully some good trades coming out from Reality TV.
And Flashbang's actually going up to Ivy. Kento looking over Gordon. Bino. Yeah, he didn't actually try to take any of the gunfights. He might have gotten one for free if he had seen Kento. But now both Bino, Kento back off, knowing that kill might have been on the horizon. But it's actually Wichita Wolves. They get the opening pick onto the Thermite. I don't think that wall is open, Tanner. So now Reality TV, they're going to have to work through blue. They're going to have to work through trench to get inside the site.
There's no way the wall's not open with no wall. There's no way, right? It's not open. Oh boy, that's a huge pick coming out here from the side of Wichita Wolves. It's basically going to force Reality TV to take a bunch of funneling gunfights, like those 1v1 gunfights I've been talking about all game, and something they can excel at, but it's putting themselves in a really bad position, and this is Wichita's Wolves round to lose at this point.
Bry just has to back off. There are RTV members all around him. Twizzler can't hit the shots, but Hat can. And now what was a massive advantage for Wichita Wolves is starting to crumble before their eyes. Fish hiding behind the fridge has not been caught out by Hat, and he's just too patient.
He let it get past.
Yeah, he waited a little bit too long. There actually is a trade happening. So Reality TV, they lost an extremely pivotal member, and now they just completely stumble their way towards the site, and Wichita Wolves cannot do anything about it.
Fish just sold out his teammates so bad that round. He let the Twitch walk right past him and kill one of his teammates and down the other for free. What? Oh man, it looked like the freest kill because he's hiding behind the fridge. They had no info on it. It looked like Twitch had no idea he was there. He saw the barricaded door and just assumed it was clear. Walks past him. That should have been a shot in the back of the head. That was very easily a round for Wichita Wolves. That Fish kind of he didn't do his job. I don't know how else to say that. Like he needed to collect that pick on the Twitch before the Twitch was able to walk in and kill all of his teammates. Very curious decision, but it looks like we're going to be pausing here as one of the players on the side of Reality TV is dealing with a microphone issue. And as that's happening here, I don't know, V, what do you think? Like, that's 2 rounds in a row where it looked like Wichita could have pulled it out and they were unsuccessful, and now we're looking at a 2-0 start for Reality TV, same as that we saw on the first map. Are you getting kind of like flashbacks of Cafe a little bit here?
All right, whenever I try to make a prediction when I'm casting, it always doesn't come true. So I'm going to make a prediction, and you guys can tell me later when I'm wrong. Reality TV, I think we're going to see potentially a 3-3 from Wichita Wolves. That you're going to see another one from Reality TV, but Wichita Wolves, they are so close to getting all the puzzle pieces together. They've been, I think that previous round was probably the best example that they got that opening pick. They had a lot of positioning that would, gear themselves towards a kill, but it still didn't happen. And so eventually they are going to find numbers. Reality TV, in my opinion, still takes this map because I think that the problems with Wichita is, the IGL. It is still core problems that really cannot be fixed in this map right here. But we'll have to see if I am cursing this team.
Do you see it, Mr. B?
Oh, I just saw it. The blitz.
So
No.
this round is going to be such a pivotal round. If Mr. B is able to pull this off with the blitz and they're able to get the pick, I'm just going to call it. This is going to be a very quick chalet map. I don't think the young roster of Wichita Wolves will be able to handle 3 rounds losses in a row. But if they manage to pull this out, I think we could see that 3-3 half that you were talking about. But
Dealing with the blitz of Mr. B, that's actually what the B stands for. It changes like at will, but right now it stands for Mr. Blitz. He enters the site looking for one target.
Where are
He hasn't
they?
spotted one, but now the alibi has found one. It's going to be trades all around. 3-3. Blitz is still alive, and so are other members on Reality TV. So Twizzler has to come back to the site. Riot is over in Mezzanine trying to maybe pick off one member of Reality TV, as this round is not over yet. There is still a chance that RTV can lose this one. The shotgun takes Mr. B off the plant, and he gets dropped. An amazing play there from Twizzler underneath. The information had to be there. He knew the exact position. So now, your diffuser's gone. You have one player underneath. Giddy just ignores the Wamai, and now Valor just has to drop in. So Reality TV, it seemed like they had a wonderful plan from the beginning, but Valor now has to pick up the diffuser, put it down, or find 2 kills when it seems that these Wichita Wolves players are ready for a crossfire.
oh, nice try from Valor. What a great play coming out here from Wichita Wolves, using their Maestro cameras inside of sight to deny the plant from going down from below. They're able to use that information. It seemed like a very big oversight from Reality TV to try and get plants down with the information still being completely present. And there you go. Wichita was able to claw back yet another round that, or I guess this is the first round, but they were able to make a round that looked at the beginning to be very one-sided for Reality TV. They were able to make it look a lot more competitive than Reality TV initially had it, using just unorthodox methods of getting these picks, whether that be the shotgun from below or that being forcing people out of positions with the shotgun and then getting a long angle shot from the Wamai, who is holding the box angle. Just a very solid response coming out here from the side of the Wichita Wolves to answer back at this aggressive tempo that Reality TV's been setting.
We're not going to see the same happen again as Wichita Wolves. I think that has to be a confidence booster. Like, to see the blitz rush, which initially was successful. Like, it got in sight, the plant almost went down, and if the plant had gone down, that probably would have been it. Because fighting a shield post plant is one of the most difficult things you can do in this game. But the fact that Wichita Wolves, they stayed calm, they used the information utility that they had, and they were able to win it out. I think that speaks volumes about the potential that Wichita Wolves still have in this match and what they can do right now as we're still going into round 4, round 5. Fish takes out the IGL of Mr. B, so there's no Candelas that the attack can use. And Wichita Wolves, they just look like something spurred inside them. They have a new regained confidence.
It's like it's interesting that we're seeing a completely different Mr. B here going into round 4 than we did on Cafe. On Cafe, he, like we were mentioning, he was impactful every single round. Now he's going 0-3 in 4 rounds. He's not really providing that same amount of impact. I know obviously Blitz was pretty pivotal in pushing out the defenders in sight, but at the end of the day, he wasn't able to get any picks. He wasn't able to get the bomb down. So all of that momentum that he created with Blitz, it really didn't stand for anything. And now he's the opening pick on this round. It seems like he's just not having a very good attack half, and he's putting his team on the back foot at this point. I would kind of want him to slow down a little bit here. And I think if he's able to stay up a little bit more and maybe make a little bit more impact, that could be the difference for Reality TV in the next couple rounds.
You just saw that C4 being ripped by Riot. Didn't actually do anything but destroy Bino's Frost mat. So now Riot actually hurt himself in that scenario. He doesn't have any assistance when it comes to anybody hopping in library. Bry is over in the hallway. He could potentially be that first deterrence that Reality TV encounters, as they definitely do spot the shield with a drone with Hat's actual eyes. But the Flores just absolutely takes it out, and Hat is ready to take down Bry. There is an immediate refrag as Riot cannot do anything in that scenario. He's able to find one, but at the end of the day, It's a frost map that really might clinch this for Wichita Wolves. Despite Bry Riot dying, they did their job. They were a severe thorn in these attackers' side, and Giddy will be able to get the refrag, I believe, but still, Wichita do have a great advantage going into these last 45 seconds.
Oh, he's able to get that off? That's impressive. He should not have been able to pick up that Lion player. The player inside of stock there should have been able to hear the Frostmat go down, and now it's back to being the 2v3 instead of 1v3. This is far more possible, I should say, far more possible for RealityTV to pull this off. But last time they had 5, and Bino was able to pull out a really nice 4K. He gets shut down this time, so I don't know.
Oh my gosh, Giddy stays alive. He is the hero of this round. He takes down Twizzler, as now Valor is going to be the one deterrence. Fish does spot the diffuser, knows exactly where it is, but he cannot deal lethal damage to Valor, the P90. It's got a lot of rounds, but they're very, very tiny rounds. Valor stays alive, still is able to use that V3OA with lethal precision. And now Fish, despite having an initial HP advantage, actually goes up to the second floor, sees if he can spot Giddy, who is up there, but still the P90 doesn't have the damage. P90 was the difference in that fight, Tanner.
You just gotta hit your headshots. I don't know what to say. That's so unfortunate. Those are 2 kills that he probably would have had he had any other gun than a P90, which I believe only does 20 damage per bullet. So when you hit someone like that and they're down to 1 damage, you know, it's got to be the lack of damage power that weapon had. Very nice effort from the side of Wichita Wolves, but yet again, RealityTV are demonstrating that they have shooters on their team that are going to be able to come back and clutch it out. And Giddy, Hat, and Valor are putting up some pretty big numbers into these first rounds, making sure that they're always being impactful, and they're just able to pick apart Wichita even when they are on a man disadvantage. And that just speaks to like I said, the level of fragging capability that RealityTV currently has on this roster.
I think that play right there, making it so that Wichita Wolves didn't get such a hot round, it diffused everything that was kind of built up with that counter to the Blitz Rush, with Wichita Wolves getting that round, because that would have made it 2v2. Now it's RealityTV up 3-1, still have the potential to go up 5-1. And, well, I mean, if they can come back from that, they could potentially do a lot more damage. It's heading down to the basement. This is where Wichita Wolves initially found something. Taking out Valor without even the wall being opened up. We'll see if something like that can happen, if Wichita can even deter anybody from RealityTV side.
They're going back to bar gaming.
Okay, that's why.
You know, you've only, like, I don't
Ignore
get this.
me.
I don't. No, I'm not. It's not your fault, because that would have been the logical thing to do. What did we talk about with Cocktail last map? Don't go to this site and lose it 3 times. They did. Now they're going to bar gaming. It looks like they want to do a rerun of losing the site 3 times, because they've lost the site now twice. This is very questionable decision making. We're talking about how impactful an IGL is. One of the things an IGL does between rounds is he makes a judgment call using macro strategy to determine what would be the best site to go to versus their current opponent. And I can tell you for a fact, going to a site you've lost twice and changing nothing is never the right decision for an IGL to make. So I don't know what's going on right now, why Wichita is electing to go back to this site, but here we are. You see Twizzler in the corner, same as we've seen the last 2 rounds in a row. This time he is Doc instead of a Rooney, and I don't think that helps him at all in this scenario. Very questionable decision coming out here from Wichita, as now RealityTV get to attack the site again for a 3rd time, and they don't have to deal with the spawn peak right off of the rip like we saw in the first round.
All right, I'll play devil's advocate. Wichita Wolves did have a good run last time. Like, that is one thing that you have to gift them on this bar site. But Wichita Wolves, it almost gets started out with a disaster if Twizzler hadn't won that site. As now Valor, I mean, he's throwing in all the smokes, all the candelas, with nobody hopping in.
there is a method to that, man. So
Okay.
what they're trying to do is they're trying to bait the roamers to come back to site to make them think that they're executing when they're not. And you could see a bunch of the reality TV players were on cutoff positions looking for the roamers to rotate. While they did get the roamers to successfully come back to site, they weren't able to effectively get any picks. And as a result, they've lost 2 smoke grenades and all of their Yin Candelas, which is, I don't know if that's a good trade for no map control.
Twister actually doesn't drop the hatch like we saw in the previous one. The frag grenade goes out, and it's just too far away from Twister to even do any damage. So with the amount of time that's still in the clock, Wichita Wolves still have, honestly, everything they need. They've got map control. They're still wasting a lot of time and utility on the side of RTV. What more could you want? I think the only thing that could gift Wichita Wolves something would be a kill, but Hat kind of has his sights set on one player. He cannot look 2 ways at once. Bri knows that, but it's immediately refragged as RTV get an advantage. Kento drops right into a frost mat as still. It's honestly, Twizzler could be the one thing that keeps Wichita in this. He finds Giddy, the hero of the previous round, but cannot get any more than that. So with 60 seconds left, Mr. B and the rest of Reality TV have to center their sights on the actual site itself and take down Fish, who was 2 rounds away from clutching out the previous round. He has another shot, but he barely misses. Mr. B, Valor gets caught in a frost mat. It's a 1v1, and now Mr. B, he doesn't have clear info on where this Solus is. He angles towards the site, he angles toward library stairs, but Fish has to worry about the revive. It is cat and mouse right now, Tanner. Oh, and he's got it. Mr. B walks straight into the line of sight of Fish, and well, I guess you get one of them in the end. So Wichita Wolves, they're 1 round away from truly tying it up.
This is some great siege we're seeing where a round is never really over. Like, I think that's the 3rd round in a row where we've seen where a clutch has come back to bring the round this way. And then we had the Beano 4K. I'm not even counting that because he didn't ultimately clutch it. We still got a 4K. It's like every round is coming down to the wire between these 2 teams. And that was just very well played from the side of Fish. Fish being able to identify that with the Frostmat kill to retake above and basically force the attacker's hand to kind of play at their tempo. You can't revive that player once he gets hit by the Frostmat due to the vertical pressure and the threat from above. So Mr. B had to go for the pick. And where was Fish? He was perfectly lying in wait with his gun ready to go. And there you go. Mr. B is going to sprint right into him. But the biggest, the most glaring error of that round has got to be Reality TV got hit by 2 Frostmats after seeing this site 2 times before with Frostmats.
I mean, it is kind of like one of these sites that you bring Frost.
Yeah.
You kind of got to keep your eyes open for that, but when you're in the moment, like, it's not exactly excusable, but when you're in the moment, a lot of times your eyes are centered on trying to find somebody, and well, not the Frostmat below. That is why you bring the Frost, is because it punishes players that are more focused on potentially finding the kill than looking right below them at a Frostmat that could be there. So, I mean, it could be 4-1 right now. A couple bullets for Wichita Wolves, and Reality TV only have 1 round to their name, but instead, we're at least guaranteed a 3-3 side if you are a Wichita Wolves fan, as Riot could hang out over by this little cube area, potentially shut down Kento, who's making sure that he doesn't get his feet caught in a frost mat as he gets a round kicked off for this attacking side. It's not without loss, though. Valor goes down as Kento just seems hungry on finding more.
I mean, he's going to be able to take that top floor control, and they're able to establish library right off the rip. Very good use of Solus coming out here, identifying that there are claymores, in fact, on this window, which are going to prevent them from jumping out later. But Reality TV are just going to quickly be able to pick apart the roam game coming up from the side of Wichita Wolves. They're putting themselves in a 4v2 here with lots of time left to identify where the remaining defenders are and be able to get the wall open and maybe even go for a plant. The big thing that held them up last time they attacked the site was the Maestro cameras, and there you go. You already see Reality TV starting to put in work to clear out these cameras. They're able to get the wall open and go for the plant. And now it's all up to Wichita Wolves, and they don't know if the plant is going down. They're going to try and get a clutch here. Nice push up here from Bri. He's going to be able to get 1 pick, but he's immediately traded out by Kento. Now Beano. He's in a 1v3 trapped in the closet. He's going to get picked up by Hat, and there you go. The Reality TV is able to pull a 4-2 half out. and you were so close, man. You were so close, V. V, you were so close. It was almost right. Almost right.
Maybe, but I mentioned at the beginning, Tanner, that Wichita Wolves, I needed to see them get 4 rounds of the defense at 4-2 to have a natural advantage when they actually go into their attack, which is weaker. That didn't happen. They are actually down 2 rounds, and now they have to fix their attack, which was, sloppy feels a little bit too harsh on this team that are working with kind of the boundaries that they've been given. With the fact that you're having Bino and Riot try to pick up the fact that they're noticeable IGL. And the one man that we all think of when we think of Wichita Wolves, JJ Blast, isn't here. So Wichita Wolves, unfortunately, like, this is the time for Bino and Riot to kind of show their skills, but they're going up against one of the hottest teams in T2 right now. And unfortunately, if they don't start to put something together on the attack, they are going to have at least one more chance. They're not going to be eliminated, but they're going to get one step closer to being eliminated.
Well, V, they got one thing working in their advantage here, and that is the fact that it is attack on Chalet. And unlike on Cafe, which is a very mini-game intensive kind of attacks, it's very difficult for new teams to attack on that map. Chalet is the complete opposite. You can get cheesy with it. You can come in through the basement. You can find a lot of good cutoff angles. There's not a lot of map control you typically need to attack on any site. So if there was a map to try and figure out your IGLing, this would be it. And it is their map choice. Maybe they're going to be able to pull out a little bit more of a competitive game than what we saw on Cafe. But in order to do that, they need to start this round off right by getting that opening pick and starting to collect some free map control that RealityTV are going to give up as a result of that pick.
So Mr. B is probably the first player that Wichita Wolves will see. They actually don't see him. They know he's there because that Gemini clone did get shot out. But they're still going to have to take more information to actually finding out his true position or where he isn't. Because with knowing that he's not in that little corner of library, they can hop in. Was a frag grenade thrown in, or was it might have been thrown over by Mez. Okay, I thought it was thrown in the corner, but Mr. B, he's still going to be able to survive up against potentially 2 pushes. One coming from library, one coming from this office window. And we'll see if the man himself, Mr. B, Mr. Blitz, I called him earlier, will be able to survive.
I think he will be. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Mr. B understands the assignment on Womai like we saw on the previous map, and he is still up and able to collect a pick on the player jumping in from K9, but ultimately he gets traded out. We're now in a 3v3 with Wichita Wolves being able to establish the top floor control. But look at the operators that they have lost. They have no ability to use the vertical control that they have now gained, with Sledge and Zofia with their breaching charges being taken off of the board.
You know, one consolation. Wichita Wolves have pushed RealityTV all the way back, and a frag grenade perfectly placed means that Supply Closet is free for the taking, or I guess free from enemies, as RealityTV have one right by these stairs. As Giddy pushes up, Fish does spot the Melusi, who I believe might actually head all the way back down. She's scared. You can tell that she doesn't have the help that she needs because Kento got taken out. Giddy follows, so Wichita Wolves, I mean, they got an attack started in the previous map, but they couldn't really follow it up. Are we going to see the same here?
I mean, that site is a very I think that site's kind of fallen out of favor quite a bit. It's one of those sites that the more it gets played, the easier it is for teams to attack it. And I think to Wichita Wolves' credit, they did an excellent job of taking top floor control. They managed to do it with 3-3 bodies up, and then that was an excellent grenade coming out from Bry to clear out the stock player. It kind of put RealityTV on the back foot. And there was no real attempt, it looked like, from RealityTV, from what we could see, to try and reestablish the top floor control or to challenge the players on Wichita. And they were allowed to do what they wanted, and they took full advantage of that time. Transition, hit a good reset in their comms and how they were playing, and then just able to piecemeal the remaining 2 defenders on the side of RealityTV. So, if basically, it was a textbook round. That was a textbook solid attacking round from Wichita, and that's what you want to see. We're talking about the IGL, and we're talking about, you know, are they going to be able to cope? That if they can keep doing that, what they just did that last round with a textbook attack, they're going to continue to find success on this Chalet attack half.
10 seconds to go.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are rooting for a closer game. I know that this has been a much better map. For Wichita Wolves, the fact that I think 3 of these rounds came down to clutches. One of those from the depth of defeat with Bino, but still, the fact that Wichita Wolves have been so close to victory but haven't been able to get it may indicate that if we are headed to a map 3, Wichita Wolves could really start to find their stride, but they actually need to get there first. They're currently losing by 1 on an attack that has shown promise, but I mean, it did show promise on Cafe. That's the thing, is the pattern needs to be broken for Wichita Wolves.
Just the fact that they're remaining competitive is a really big feat here. And let's keep in mind, like we said already, Shelly is an easy map to attack. A typical half you want to see if you're attacking this map is you want to get a 4-2 half as a defender. Sorry, a 2-4 half as a defender. You want to win 2 rounds at least, and they did that. They understood the assignment. They got it done, and they got their 2 rounds. So now it's really the onus is on Reality TV to kind of try and claw out these rounds. And why it's so hard for these defenders to play these positions is there's not a lot of coverage, and they're kind of forced to be stationary in their positions in order to deny the attackers entryways into the map. And as you're seeing here, they need to either get very aggressive on these entry points, which it looks like we might be getting Twizzler to come and try and get a pick on the player on the big window repel. But they're forced into like these stationary positions, and what happens is you get naded out, and that's exactly what we're seeing here with the side of Wichita Wolves, is they're just getting pick after pick after pick. And now Valor's in a 1v5. Is he going to be able to do a slightly better than Bino? We'll see. He gets 2 picks as he still has sight control. This is questionable.
I mean, I would mention the health, but Bino is basically on the same level, but Wichita Wolves actually try to take a one-on-one gunfight for him, and because, you know, they have numbers, they have HP, they win it out. So now it's 4-4, and it seems like the attack for Wichita Wolves has definitely started to gain some momentum. They have to attack the basement site. Now, as Reality TV, well, I mean, they haven't really shown any strong defense yet. I think that both of these rounds that we've seen from them have really just been Wichita Wolves kind of running over them so far, especially the roams, like whether it's frag grenades. So, I mean, we saw Claymore in the previous one. These one-on-one gunfights are falling in the favor of Wichita Wolves. So I think at this point, it is anybody's game now. And Wichita Wolves could potentially get the lead for, I mean, the first time tonight if they take this one.
I mean, this would be a very big win for the side of Wichita Wolves, and they are in the driver's seat. They have shown no signs of slowing down. I know we're 2 rounds into their attack half, but they're 2-0. You can't really ask for a better start to your attack half than a 2-0. I mean, in fact, you cannot. So they're in the driver's seat right now. They're winning the rounds they're putting in front of them, and the big difference that I'm seeing is the fact that they're getting those utility kills. They weren't getting any of those when they were attacking on Cafe, and now that they're able to isolate these roamers from the side of Reality TV, and they're able to get these free picks, these free real estate picks with the grenade or punish them with claymores, I think they're putting themselves in a really solid position to not have to take gunfights with arguably a team with better fraggers just down the roster that Reality TV has.
And Hat trying to use that Specchio scanner just to see if there's anybody caught droning. Bry walks in, cannot win the gunfight. Valor isn't going to last long, as Wichita Wolves did a great job of actually assisting everybody, but there's nobody inside. I forgot for a second that we're on the basement site because nobody on Reality TV is here. Bino's able to get the diffuser down, but can he do more than that? Twizzler on the floor cannot do anything, and now Bino has to complete the 1v3, and he cannot do that. So Wichita Wolves, I think, a wonderful attempt from them. Probably the best thing they could have done, but they just could not stabilize. My defuse. My defuse.
That's just bad manners.
Kill him.
He's gonna do it.
Kill him.
He's not. He's not.
Defender mission successful.
You should kill your teammate now.
I like that. I think that's the first time we saw from Wichita Wolves that they're attempting a rush. I don't believe on Cafe we saw them rush at all. They were very trying to be very slow and methodical with their attacks, but that tempo switch up is going to pay dividends if Wichita are able to close out this map in the long run. being able to present your opponent, especially in IGL with Mr. B, who's always trying to analyze the situation, always trying to anticipate what his opponents are going to do next. When you give them a tempo shift like a rush, that now is something in the back of Mr. B's mind that he has to pay attention to going forward. He can't just let a rush into sight happen like that again. What that means for him is if he is identified that, he's going to try and maybe pull back his roamer so that they're able to react to a sight rush a little bit more efficiently. But that being said, RealityTV take a nice round win. They're able to close up the first defensive round, and they're going to go back to Kitchen, a site we just saw them lose in dramatic fashion. What are your thoughts on this site? Do you think this is we're going to see a similar play style coming out here from Wichita, where they're going to be able to get these nade kills, or are you anticipating, you know, a little bit more aggression on the side of RealityTV to try and compensate for the utility kills last round?
I am thinking that something's going to be different, that RealityTV, I mean, shouldn't see hop-outs. Giddy literally has a gadget that spots claymores. Like, come on. You maybe use it, don't die to a claymore. I don't think he died, but so RealityTV, I think utility was that main problem. I'd actually like to see them up on the second floor, but clearly they just don't feel confident on that. And when, you know, opting between this one and Bar, Kitchen just feels better in their eyes, and it really is just about the ability to hold on that top floor. And it's going to be hard because Wichita Wolves, they are moving quick. They are really not wasting any time. I mean, they're already in Solarium. They're getting rid of all those castle barricades. This was something that they did within like 30 seconds past where they are now. So if they get a refrag, the opening refrag, as Kento looks away at the wrong second, and it might have just slipped away from him, Tanner. But both Wichita Wolves and RealityTV have to get their entry sometime.
So for Wichita Wolves right now, they're looking like they're trying to clear out the solar player. They're going to want to do a solar take here by rappelling in through these windows. And there's nothing really stopping them on the side of RealityTV. And they're not taking that free map control. They should be rappelling in here as they had the player in bathroom locked down. But Kento's able to retake that as Mr. B goes down. And now it's not looking favorable for Wichita Wolves, as RealityTV are going to get a flurry of picks and put themselves in a man advantage situation. And Wichita now are in a 2v3 with the diffuser outside. I don't know. It doesn't look good. It's not a good look. They're going to have to rely on their fragging. They're going to have to rely on their trades to get picks back. And their explosiveness is probably their biggest strength that they have. And their ability to control the initiative is the biggest strength that they have going forward here.
I mean, this isn't too surprising that all that Wichita really can do is just try to rush the site altogether. They take out Valor, who was that main player inside of sight, but they cannot cleanly get in Tanner, and that is the one thing. Fish has the skills to complete this 1v2. We have seen so many clutches from both of these teams tonight, as Fish does fake, tries to catch anybody who just strays a little bit too far beyond their designated position. He has a lot of time, and he has frag grenades that I don't actually think he's going to be able to hit. There's nobody all the way around him, and it just is not timed perfectly enough to find anybody. Fish is halfway through the diffuser and should stick it all the way down, and just as he pops up, there is the Jaeger and the castle ready to fight, and can't even get a single lick of damage before going down. And so RealityTV, they get on map point. Despite an initial, well, iffy defense, they are here. Don't do it, Kento. Like, last one was a goof, but don't do it.
Oh, there you go. I mean, with the last two players on the side of Wichita Wolves played that to perfection, right? You're in a 4v2. You need to find picks. They get a quick pick down below, and then they rush in through the front door to try and come in and take advantage of the aggression and catching the players by RealityTV by surprise. It gets it down to a 1v2 to try and get the plant down. Fish plays that properly, but even more important than that, I like the discipline that I saw on the side of RealityTV to not just give Fish 2 1-for-1 engagements. You saw him baiting the plant. He was trying to bait out these defenders to give him free picks so that he could put himself in a more favorable position to close out that game. Instead of having to take a 2v1, maybe he gets 2 1v1s, which improves his odds at winning that round. And RealityTV weren't going to give it to them. They just stayed disciplined. And when they chose to go and engage Fish, they did it together, and they didn't let him get individual gunfights. And that was the key there to allowing them to close out that round. And I think that just speaks to the experience and the leadership on the side of Reality TV to not jump the gun, not play on discipline, not just think, okay, because we're in a 4v2, we're going to win. They're obviously respecting their opponents enough to try and play a more fundamental game. And that was just a very clean round win from the side of Reality TV.
Attackers are heading out to defuse the
Yeah,
bomb.
it seems that they've kind of cleaned up their act a little bit in these second defensive rounds. You know what? I'm surprised that I haven't made like a pun based off of Fish's name. Like he's shooting fish in a barrel, going fishing for kills or anything like that. I am gonna, if we're gonna stay on this map, I'm gonna try to sneak that in. I have to. Like,
Is he going ice fishing?
I mean, if Ice Cold was in this game, I think that would
That
would
would-
probably be the logical step.
I got nothing. My dad jokes there.
Not
they're
built,
on
not
point.
built for puns.
No,
Tanner?
I'm built for puns. I'm just I'm not very punny today. You know.
I see you. I see you.
That being said, it looks like Wichita Wolves are going to elect to try and clear out the top floor the same way that they did before, with players on K9s and all of the windows of library and of the, we call it highway, but basically the bathroom balcony. And it looks like they're going to try and clear out Mr. B. And the big difference here is Mr. B is not Wamai this time. He is Oryx, which means he's not going to be able to deny a lot of the utility that Wichita Wolves throw at.
I mean, you're just going to have Hat, which is now the ADS is going to be blown up. Mr. B just kind of ignores that. Hope he can stay in this position. But now, as the X-Kairos are breaking open the wall, the frag grenade goes through. He still survives, but does not move from this position. Bodies start to fall. You're going to have one on the Reality TV, one on Wichita Wolves. Both are going to hurt. But so far, I mean, you can't do anything but truck on at this point. Fish still tries to find an entry. As Wichita Wolves, I mean, they've gotten the kill, but they've lost another player. They're actually not inside of the building itself. And well, if they get another lost player, another death, that might be the nail in the coffin.
Well, the issue Wichita has now, not only are they a man down, but they're running out of utility. They were not able to effectively clear Mr. B with their utility dump. And as a result, they're forced now to just walk at them and try and get free picks here. And with the passive utility of Malusi, it's going to be easy pickings here for the side of Reality TV. And there you go. Hat's going to be able to get 2, and Valor's going to be able to get the last 1. And there you go. Reality TV made those last 3 rounds look clinical, and they're going to be able to take this series 2-0. Is that what you expected, Fee? Were you expecting it to be that clinical,
No.
or were you expecting it to be a little bit more aggressive there at the end?
Wichita Wolves, it feels like they didn't go down with like fighting like a wolf should. They just kind of went down with a whimper, like a wolf that's kind of got its feet trapped in a frost mat. So Wolves not really putting up the performance that I think all of us were expecting, but then again, they are losing a pivotal part of their team. And I think this map was a lot better for them. I loved seeing the type of defense and the type of attacks, at least in those first 2 attacks for Wichita Wolves. They showed a lot different than Cafe, and that could have been that this was their map pick, but something about the Wichita Wolves did inspire something in me, but it just was not enough to gain themselves a map win.
Yeah, and ultimately, with that win now, Reality TV are going to be able to advance into the playoffs like we knew they would. Like at the beginning of this of SCS7, we kind of foresaw that the team that won Challenger League would be able to advance to the playoffs, and here they are. They now have their 3 wins that they need to advance, and at this time, Wichita Wolves, they're not out, but they're 2-2. They need to go to the tiebreakers here soon, and they're going to be playing an opponent tomorrow. And if they win that map, they can join Reality TV in the playoffs for SCS7.
And a small chance that they do play 6 Karma, based on what we talked about earlier, that 6 Karma does have to play one of the teams that are going home. But we'll talk about scheduling like at the end of this round. We're far away from that. But I mean, Reality TV, they do get that kind of break that you talked about, because they don't have to worry about the round the rest of the week. They can scrim if they want, but take it off. I know, I mean, you look at Rogue, they won the Berlin Major and they didn't have this rigorous schedule. They took breaks and eventually they were major champions. So maybe that rest will be the difference.
Maybe we're gonna have to find out when we talk to who are we talking to for this? Is it Mr. B? Mr.
Yeah,
B?
but I
Does
think,
Mr. B do interviews? I don't know if he's the interview guy.
Yeah, but I think we have stats as well. Those are something that we kind of go over, but I don't know if we have the interview stats. We usually go over stats as well. I know this has been your first SCS cast, Forceful, but okay, I apparently I've taken the interview. I think Forceful, I think you might have had questions as well for Mr. B as well. So, well, I mean, okay, we're gonna have Forceful because Tanner had questions.
There's some production stuff going on. Don't worry.
I was like, oh, I'm taking the interview.
I got
okay.
it. I got it.
Put me up in the sweat there.
Hey, Lycan, how's it going?
Oh, hello! We're here. I wasn't ready for this. How are we doing?
We're doing good, man. How are you doing? How do you feel after that win?
Yeah, man, I feel good. You know, it kind of. I'm glad I'm finally done. You know, get a little bit of a break, even if it's not too long. So that's lovely.
Yeah. So going into this game, you know, obviously you're not playing with Tristan. Tristan had to take a backseat today. You guys brought in Kento. How long have you guys had? Did you guys have like a lot of time to prepare for Kento? What was like integrating him into the roster? What did that kind of look like?
Yeah, so about an hour before the match, I popped him a DM, and he said he'd play. So yeah, it was quite the process. But seriously, he's a good player. He knows what he's doing. So we just kind of told him what he needed to do, gave him the basics of it, and we just ran with it. We didn't take it too seriously. We had fun with it. Yeah, it's what it is.
So obviously we've seen your playstyle all year. You guys are very aggressive, very explosive. But the very first round of this game, it felt like a very different beast altogether. Was that a statement round you were trying to do against Wichita to kind of set the tempo, let them know like, hey, we're going to be in your face all game? What was the thought process on setting such an explosive round one for this series?
They had a bad setup. No, that wasn't anything. They just had a bad setup, and so I just called for us to.
What'd you see? What would you see that caused you to hit site?
Yeah, they didn't open bar 1 or the bar, and so the freezer guy couldn't kill me on my plant, and there was we killed the guy below already, so they couldn't nitro me. So it was just a basic setup for an easy fast hit. But in general, we actually took this game. Especially on Cafe, I was just like, yeah, just stay outside windows, bait. They'll run into you. You'll get your free kills, and then we can work with our advantage. And that's basically what happened, right? So as long, we just took our time with it and waited for them to give us the freebies.
So going into Chalet, it looked like you guys were in the driver's seat for the most part, but then Wichita started to make like this little comeback, especially on their attack half. They started to set the tempo really strong. What kind of changed when you that allowed you guys to basically start pulling out the last 3 defensive rounds? Because it went from being very sketchy at the beginning, I would say, as an observer, to it just looked clinical. Like your defenses were just clinical the last 3 rounds. What did you have to say to kind of get the guys on the right footing there?
It was basically we just needed to do something, right? So in the early round, they're playing super slow, they're baiting, they're doing whatever, but we need to be doing something as they execute or just before they execute. Because what was happening is I'm in these death spots and I'm sitting there and I'm getting 7 flashes thrown at me, like 3 nades, and I'm like, all right, guys, sometime about now, you know, any day now. So I basically, after that second time happened, I was like, all right, we got to be getting aggressive on these guys. We've got to do something to prevent them from just stacking util and giving a free execute, right?
Yeah, so now you've qualified. You're in playoffs. What are you looking forward to in the next few weeks of your breaker? How are you going to prepare to make sure that you're setting yourself up for success to win SCS7 going forward?
You know, it's always just about putting in the work. But, you know, I think we're going to keep doing what we're doing, right? Just put in the practice and things tend to work out. Nothing crazy.
All right, Mr. B. Well, I thoroughly enjoyed that. Do you have anything last you want to say to the fans who are watching?
No, thank you all for supporting me. It's been great. And yeah, stay tuned.
All right. Cheers, B.
Have a good one.
You too.
Interesting man nonetheless. You will probably hear more from him, especially as we get closer to closed quals. But I mean, what a series from RealityTV as well. Going over the map stats, Hat, obviously, he was really a player on RealityTV, especially on the Twitch, that just took control a lot in these rounds and made sure that any time that Wichita Wolves tried to get an advantage, it was quickly snuffed out. I mean, look at that 1.5 rating.
Yeah, he was definitely a menace in this game. He's putting up some absolute monster numbers. And like we talk about that one Twitch round where he's just able to walk in sight and cause the entire defense of Wichita Wolves on the wine defense to just collapse because he was able to be aggressive and being spontaneous and take advantage of these gunfights. And it's felt like a lot of what RealityTV was able to muster on their attack app was a direct result of Hat taking those picks and clearing out critical defensive positions from the side of Wichita Wolves. And as a result, he's our MVP of this series. He's going to go up 24-15 with a +9. That's an incredible performance coming out here from Hat. But like we said, all broadcasts, right? Everybody on that team was putting in some absolute was putting in a lot of work, especially Giddy, who had a very poor performance against S2. He shaped up in a very massive way, and he was a large reason why RealityTV was able to take this in a clean 2-0 fashion.
But you can also feel the influence that Kento had. 4-0 on the entry. That was the best in the lobby. And that was something that RealityTV had, was in so many of these rounds, they did jump out and get that opening kill. It wasn't like complete shutdown of any time that Wichita Wolves get started off, because you can tell that with Fish going 3-3, a lot of times Wichita Wolves did get their opening picks, but I think as a total trend for the entire match, RTV was mainly that team that always got that early advantage.
Yeah, and it just seemed like even if they didn't get that advantage, they were able to always find a way to claw back rounds. And I think that was a big difference, especially on that Chalet map versus the Wichita Wolves. They only managed to claw back one of the rounds, and RealityTV were able to call back, I think, several of the rounds when they were down a man disadvantage. They always found a way to come back and play together and bring it home. And that's why they're going to playoffs. That's why they're secure. And we're just going to have to, we're looking to see a little bit more from Wichita Wolves. If they want to have success tomorrow, they need to clean up their attacks a little bit. They need to make sure they're a little bit more focused and coordinated when they're clearing out, those suicide positions like Mr. B said, where they're able to basically just take advantage of their utility kills, because the rounds that they were able to get those utility kills with their nades, they looked really solid. The rounds they weren't able to, they were funneling into strong defender positions, and they did not have any success doing that whatsoever.
So an ending that maybe some might not have liked, a 2-0 for RealityTV. They get promoted, and Wichita Wolves, they get one more shot to make SCS playoffs, and they go down to that 2-2 record. But that is the first match of tonight. We've got one more. I mean, it's another amazing match that you all should be excited for. Aerial Arise Academy versus Luminosity Gaming. You want to stay in your seat for that one, so do not go anywhere. It will be right back after this break.